pro with Ryan Cannon, joint pro with Steve Harmison's club. So for me, I can never remember a time where we didn't have a bat and ball in our hand, playing in the back lane, playing at the cricket club, playing games, practicing it. So there was David, Tony and myself. My middle brother Tony was also on the staff here for 2 years, 3 years maybe. So cricket will be in our blood.
Yeah, as I said in the intro, give you a couple of highlights. So they really meant something. Clearly, the 94 treble, you were man of the match in the Lord's Benson Hedges final. You did the double in 95. You were the youngest player to score 1,500 runs in a first-class season in 86. You were part of the world record of was it 8 consecutive 50-run partnerships with the Indian Moles. You played in 6 one-day finals. And so, to take the earlier theme we had around confidence and purpose, there must have been points in that career that was really, really high, and you all felt invincible. What most comes to your mind when you look back on some of those highlights?
Playing in a Lord's final when I was 20, my first Lord's final, that was part of the highlight because I told my dad that I would play in a Lord's final when I was well young.
Welcome back. That was part of the interview that Tony Bishop carried out with Paul Smith. Went up to Edgbaston and talked to Paul Smith, a former Warwickshire player who fell upon hard times, then resurrected his life a little bit by working in LA with underprivileged kids, teaching them cricket. And you can find that on our podcasts. Other podcasts are not actually on our website, are they? You have to go to Podbean, I believe.
Well, you can find us on all major podcast apps, so iTunes, Spotify, Acast and Podbean. Yeah, search for Gorilla Cricket. You can get the pods before anyone else. Will be doing plenty more new ones in the new year. We try and do them regularly. I try and do the regular Gorilla Cricket podcast that I host weekly, ideally, and certainly Gorillas pretty regularly as well. You can get those before anybody else if you become a patron at patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Indeed you can. Other ways that you can help the programme are to go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket. Patreon, patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket, because it costs us quite a bit of money to do this, and we don't take anything much out of the company, very rarely in fact, and only if we ever get sponsorship for series, and at the moment we haven't. So anything you can give to us helps with the running costs of the show, and if you give us $10 a month by signing up to patreon.com, you will get your name going across the bottom of our Facebook feed, our YouTube feed, and you will be known to the world. Well, a massive world it is out there. We have a Crick Tracker who host our Facebook page, and they have something like 1.8 million people who regularly log on to their website. So as you can see, if you do give us $10 a month, you will be a superstar in Asia at least.
And part of our remit, or our real passion, is to grow the true global game, represent the global game. We would very much like to cover an upcoming series that starts at the end of this second test match, is West Indies versus Ireland. It's playing 3 ODIs and 3 T20s, and with any financial help would help us with that. And Ireland flew out for that series just today, and Mash, our friend Mash, has just tweeted that news, saying that of course Gorilla Cricket, we have a history of helping out Cricket Ireland, broadcasting. They struggle to get their games covered, struggle to get them played, let alone covered by any sort of TV or radio. So so your monetary help goes towards not just these marquee series, but things that we think need to be covered, and we are very willing to do ourselves.
3 one-day international and 3 T20 tours. So they're in Bridgetown in Barbados, St George's in Grenada, and in Basse-Terre in St Kitts.
Lovely. St Kitts is that quite small ground, isn't it?
Yes.
I think with small island.
Sturlo may have fun.
Yes, that could be very watchable, couldn't it? Anyway, England are going to get underway after tea They have the enormous task of 376 runs to chase, and Sibley comes forward, and they get, oh no, it's going to be a terrible disaster here, because there was a lot of hesitation as Sibley just pushed this into the offside. He started to come, he'd come almost halfway. It looked as if Rory Burns was not going to answer the call. Ultimately he did, and that's what saved them, because there was the last thing you'd want, first ball after tee, chasing 376 to win on a pitch where you've got some of the world's best bowlers performing, is to have a comedy run out. That was ever so close there, but England get away with it. They moved to 25 for no
This
wicket.
man survived.
Vision batting. He made huge runs, the rumours spread by word of mouth. This guy's really talented. Dominic Sibley. Dominic Sibley.
And this man will now face.
There is a man.
There is a man.
A certain man.
A certain man.
A man whose grace and handsome face are known across the land. You know his name.
You know his name.
It's Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns.
He loves a smoke, enjoys a joke. Why, he's worth 10 times what he earns.
He's Mr. Burns.
Full ball from Philander, straight, nicely pushed, and they're going to come through for another single. This time there is a direct hit for Philander. Is appealing, but I think that's more in hope than certainty. I think that Burns got through quite quickly, and England moved to 26 for no wicket. I think that England are taking a leaf out of South Africa's book here, because they saw this morning how they gave impetus to their innings by taking quick singles. Okay, once or twice they were a little bit lucky not to be run out, but it served them well in the longer term.
You can put pressure on fielders and at least make them think about what they're doing, rather than just bowling and nagging away on a length and just having you completely stuck.
Yep. So this is something that England need to do, but they've done it. The first two balls since tee. In again to Sibley, who maybe has just adjusted his position or his guard to be a little bit further across his stumps. So he's quite happy to let that one go.
With the floodlights on at Supersport Park, the man bowling them, who we should bowling under them rather, bowling the floodlights would be very impressive even for this man.
Oh well, I'm the type of guy who will never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. I kiss a man, I love 'em, 'cause to me they're all the same.
Here he is in once more, a little bit of gentle away swing, and Sibley guards against that, lets it go.
I sleep around.
Well, he has gone for a few more runs than he went for in the early part of his spell in the first England innings, where I think he bowled 5 maidens on the trot while also taking a wicket. He's conceded 4 runs now from 2.4 overs. The target is 376, 26 for no wicket. We got Anna Forsyth coming in later. She's on her way. She's stopping for beer. That is the kind of listener we like, one that pops in with beer. 3 slips in the gully. In comes Philander, bowls, and once more 2 wide outside the off stump. It's not often that you say that about Philander, but just on this occasion. And Sibley leaves alone again. Another way, of course, that you can help the I was going to say help the aged, which I suppose we are to a certain extent, or most some of us are, help the programme, is to take part in the GPL on a daily basis. This is the game of skill where you estimate before lunch how many runs will be scored in the day, and you pay us £1 for the privilege. And in so doing, you add to a pot that's already there if it hasn't been won the night before. And we started off with 57 quid, I think, today. I'll come back to this as Philander is in to complete the... Oh, what a ball! That swung away, and quite rightly, Dominic Sibley was playing that line, and then it jagged back between bat and pad, and that was an extraordinary delivery.
Play that.
It just starts to go away, and then it just comes back. And you can understand why he's playing that line, because that's what he's judging the amount of swing is going to give him. That's extraordinary. Really, really good ball from Philander. But back to the GPL. I think we've now had, 226 runs scored today. We've had quite a few entries.
29 entries.
29 entries today. So that will put the pot up to 70 quid, I think, if my mental arithmetic is right. because we keep half and you get half in the winnings. That seems a reasonable thing to do. Change of bowling. Well, I say a change of bowling. After tea, he's going to get his first bowl of this innings.
Yeah, the Rabada-Philander axis broken up, and this man from the Hennops River End.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was by.
It's coming into Burns, and Burns goes back, jabs it into the offside, and very sensibly takes a single. Indeed it is. Anrik Nortje batted so well this morning with such passion and guts, I think you have to say. Really found a way to frustrate England and then played a few decent shots as well. Got to 40 before he was finally dismissed. Call it short leg. England moved to 27 for no wicket. Burns has 20 of those. Sibley has 3. It's Sibley to face Nortje, who's got 3 slips of gully, a shortish mid-wicket, a straightish mid-on. And just trying to find out the rest of the field, but we're got a different view from side on of the bowler as he charges in, bowls to Sibley and beats him with a goodie. Angled in, nibbling away. Not a lot he could do about that. I mean, it's harsh for Sibley, who's struggling to get runs at this level, to have faced the last 2 balls that he has faced from different bowlers as well. They've been absolute corkers.
You just got to miss them and move on. I think that's all you can hope to do, and he couldn't quite miss that beauty that he got in the first innings, but that's almost unplayable.
Yeah, he's got turned around a little bit by that, hasn't he? He already has that very open stance. I just feel like he must be playing more with the bottom hand in that position. Anyway, Nortje in again, bowls this time, plays forward, meets the ball well, and plays it to that straightish, shortish mid-wicket. Yeah. Now that's an interesting field placing, isn't it? Because they've worked out that that's where he likes to score. He likes to score in front of the wicket on the onside, and so they've got the mid-wicket quite straight, and the mid-on is not that much deeper, so they're quite close together, those two.
Almost in a vertical line, sort of parallel with the wicket. They left square leg open for him, but he can't just push the ball into the leg side through mid-wicket and get off strike.
Yep, that's well spotted by the South Africans. He's in again, bowls to Sibley. He wants to single. Burns comes halfway. These two really haven't worked this out. Maybe they haven't batted together enough. They're both from Epsom originally, but it's as if they've never heard of the town, because their communication is not good. Burns 20, Sibley 3. Very, 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 very dark out there now.
We should point out, by the way, that Dom Sibley did actually score a run in the offside in this innings.
1 run so far out of the 3. So 33% of his runs have come on the offside so far. And he's facing up to Nortje.
I think he got 100% of his runs in the offside in the first innings.
Oh no, onside.
1 shot.
Now he chases that one a little bit outside the off stump, jabs it square into the covers.
His 4 in the first innings was clipped through mid-wicket.
But he only scored 2 in the first innings.
Sorry, 2. Sorry, it was the 2 clipped through mid-wicket off the, and then was out next ball. But we're keeping watch on Dom Sibley offside watch. He took until his 69th ball in Test cricket to score his first run through the offside.
And that was basically because he just, in that first innings against New Zealand at Mount Maunganui, he just refused to play anything outside the off stump, didn't he? He just left everything, which is good in one way. Nortje in again, he gets in behind this one, and the ball pings off the bat up to mid-on. And there is no run, 148 Ks that from Nortje. It's the end of the over. Any tweets?
Yeah, on the tweets, Mog says, handy, I just did a gig gin and go for Gareth Delaney the other day. Is he playing in these West Indies games? He is in the squad, and Arthur Patricia says, very much hope you're able to cover that series. It will be splendid. Quietly hopeful Ireland might be competitive in those matches. Abhishek, riddle me this. Why can't Sibley just take guard on the off stump instead of this ungainly shuffle?
Yeah.
Is it a trigger movement thing? He's basically just going back and across, which is a standard trigger.
He and Rory Burns both have that open stance for different reasons. Burns is very dominant in one eye. His vision is much better in one eye than the other, so he tries to line it up with his dominant eye. I think Sibley is a charge of the batting coach Gary Palmer, who has this idea that if you're setting up like Sibley is a bit more front on, the bat can come down straighter. I
think there's another thing to it as well. It can be a fear of LBW. I'll come back to that as lovely ball from Philander, just nips off the pitch, and Burns, I think, to his credit, kept his bat inside the line a bit, watched it do its stuff, and didn't get lured into having a prod at it. Some batsmen have this problem where their foot goes across too quickly and too early. Their initial movement is too early, and if you do that, you find yourself sometimes playing round your pad. If you're more open, then hopefully that means that when your leg does come forward, or your knee, your front leg comes forward, it's actually straighter to the ball, and gives you a chance to play more cleanly. Good straight delivery from Philander. And he's suggesting that's moving across to you, Rory Burns. You need to be careful. I'm very, very clever. Defended back to him, and there is no run.
Ricky Ponting had that issue early in his innings. He would take this big front step but slightly across himself. And early in his innings, when he wasn't quite set, his head would sometimes fall over the line of off stumpers, and he would have to try and, as you said, come round his front pad. Rory Burns achieves it by this is something you spotted. He takes a step and then slightly sort of locks his knee and slightly withdraws the front leg a little bit, so it's not as big a stride.
A lot of batsmen do that. They try and adapt to the movement of the ball by withdrawing their leg, having made that initial movement. And Gooch did it a lot, I think, against the likes of Terry Alderman. Wasn't very successful though. And people say, why hasn't he moved? Well, he has moved, but then he's moved back again. This is left alone. Through the keeper it goes. There is no run.
And it's to try and not have that front foot planted and then leaving yourself vulnerable to the in-swinger.
Yeah. Something else I was going to say about Sibley. Yeah, the way he sets up is more like a right-handed batsman facing a left arm over the wicket bowler. A lot of batsmen, certainly in the era that I played cricket, would open themselves up much more for that angle. In comes Philander, bowls down the leg side. Has he got a little edge on that? I was worried for a moment that he had just flicked that and been caught by de Kock, but maybe it just brushed the pad. Score remains 27 without loss.
James Humberstone is just in from watching that thrilling Sydney derby, and now he's listening to us in bed to calm down. Tom Curran's heroics.
Super over.
Secured a tie and then won the super over by 1 run.
You know, the English are just masters of the super over now, aren't they? We're more experienced than most people. 35,000 at Sydney for that game, which is a good showing. Philander in again, a very good leave by Burns. It was quite tight to the off stump. You're never quite sure which way it's going to go from Philander, but Burns was sure and he let it pass through to the keeper.
Neymar Butland says, "Hey lads, checking in from the west coast of USA. Wifey and I travelling back to LA from Portlandia. A lovely Xmas trip. I'm sure it is. Happy New Year, GC. We love you."
Happy New Year to you too.
That's very nice indeed. Portlandia.
Portland.
Yeah, it's this. You know, there was a series, Portland, sort of comedy series.
Oh, Portland. Portland.
Yeah, but it was a comedy series called Portland.
Okay.
Sort of sending up its hipness.
Lovely ball Fuller from Philander. And what Philander's got, he's got this lovely way of, in his follow through, just staring as he continues those last few yards at the batsman, and that can be unnerving. It really can. It's almost suggesting, I've got you on a string. I know exactly what I'm going to do. You have no idea. I am superior.
And that's the kind of the reverse of that one he cut Sibley in half with, because that's shaped to come into him and then gone away off the seam.
Well, yeah, it's done the same thing because he's a left-hander. Yeah, absolutely. We're day 3 at Super Sport Park, Centurion. Actually, I'm just looking at that now. There's a sort of shot from way above, and you can see the flyover isn't actually as close as it looks from side on. It's well away from the bank, but I suppose it's the foreshortening of the lens. When you see it from side on, it looks much closer, as if it's right on top of it.
We were having some discussion in the tea break about where exactly the Hennops River is in relation.
I think we've tracked it down.
Well, it seems to run through the centre of Centurion, so it can't be all that far away.
No, it isn't. What we weren't doing, and what was confusing me, was that when I looked on Google Maps, I was far too far out to see the blue bit, and I just presumed it wasn't there. Down the leg side from Nokia, and Sibley waves a bat at it in the hope of getting something on it, but can't. 89 miles an hour.
Abhishek Chopra says, "A lovely explanation on Sibley Hendo, though I still think it is unnecessary complication. Side on is the way to play cricket. Thanks."
A man of the old school Bombay batting textbook.
Well, it's my father always told me it's a sideways game.
It is, and I think also it's difficult for openers. I mean, I was an opener initially, and I think you're kind of anxious at the early part if the ball's moving, as this is nicely punched up to mid-on by Sibley. Nerves will make you move earlier than you want to move, or you would ideally move, and when you're more settled, or you're feeling the bat on the ball very well and you're confident and you relax a little bit, you're less inclined to do that. So I think that if you have a tendency to do that, opening your stance can be not just opening stance, but maybe taking a leg stump guard as opposed to a middle and leg or middle guard that a lot of people will take. Far more batsmen these days seem to be right over on middle and off. Left alone outside the off stump by Sibley. And he's concentrating hard. He's going for a little walk towards square leg between deliveries. I really want to see him succeed. I mean, I'd be delighted to see him succeed. I'd be delighted to be wrong about everything with regards to his batsmanship.
You know, there's a lot of talk about the denigration of the county championship, but Burns and Sibley, both men who've done the hard yards in county cricket, and, you know, the virtues of a patient opening pair, and you know, with England's ability and sort of stroke makers in the middle order, it could be very good news indeed for England.
Long term, yeah, potentially. Nortje in, bowls, and a good leave, because that fizzed and he had to get his bat right up high out of the way of that danger of perhaps it flicking the underside even as he did lift the bat up.
Even more so because Nortje went a bit wider on the crease there, which creates that angle into Sibley, which means that he's less likely to be able to leave the ball.
And I guess also for Nortje, I mean, he came back and he got a couple of wickets. I mean, he'd only had one test wicket before yesterday. He's got those wickets. He's got those 40 runs. That must just give him confidence that he's got a role in the team, that he can play at this level.
Particularly with Ngidi injured, he's got a bit of time.
Yep.
In the team, potentially ahead of him.
Nortje in again, and Sibley is forward, defending low on the bat, square of the wicket in the offside. There is no run.
Yeah, Sibley's record there, 1200s in first-class cricket at an average just over 40. The highest of 244. Now that was made for Warwickshire, but he made a 242 for Surrey as an 18-year-old. That really announced him on the scene. I remember I saw the close of that innings. He was dismissed on a morning when he'd already made 200, but I went to see, wanted to get a good glance at him, and I was able to watch him. You know, when you're at the Oval, you can sit and you can look right in the batsman's eyes as they walk past you back up to the sheds.
Nortje again. He does go quite wide on the crease in direct contrast to someone like Philander. This is left alone.
And I just thought it was fascinating to see this young man. He was still in school. He was Surrey's youngest ever Centurion at the time, but then to convert that to 242, batted a long time against a good Yorkshire side.
Right.
And you know, what a thing for a young man. He'd been, you know, going through all the age groups, and so while he is young, he's very experienced, and as Nicola said, he can play these long.
He was playing for Spencer Cricket Club at the time, which is one of the most central London.
Yeah, it's very nice ground actually, Spencer. Very nice ground. What I understand to be the case is that he has changed his technique since going to Warwickshire. I think he had a really bad run. Was it in his first year at Warwickshire towards the end of the season? He just could barely get a run, and he worked with, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. Is it Gary Jordan?
Gary Palmer.
Gary Palmer, that's right. Philander in, again, a little bit of movement away, but well watched by Burns, who just chops it into the offside. Yeah, Gary Palmer, who's worked with a lot of really good cricketers, freelance batting coach. And I'm guessing that he may have suggested this particular way of setting up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He did it the same to Alistair Cook, not to the same extent, but Cook was definitely a little bit more open in his stance towards the end of his career, and it meant that the bat could come down that little bit straighter, and it did open up the offside for him actually, because he's a left-hander. He was able to, it was noticeable in the last couple of years of Alistair Cook's test career, he was much more fluent on the drive than he had been at any point in his career.
Here is Philander into... Oh, he's found the edge, and it's been spilled by Rassie van der Dussen, diving away to his right, and it's got so much on it that it has gone all the way to the boundary. Burns, I said it in the first innings, has got that wonderful quality of being a little bit lucky, and there's another catch spilled off him.
Way up in the sky, little darling. And if it falls, I'll pick it up. Just pick it up, mate. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Much harder than the catch of Rassie van der Dussen dropped in the first innings. That was off Dom Sibley. He's diving to his right this time. He didn't have de Kock flying in front of him to quite the same extent, but that was low to his right. Still probably should have been taken by a good first slip fielder, though.
Yeah, but I do wonder, I mean, the fact that de Kock is quite so acrobatic, this is a straighter ball, which is turned into the onside. They should get a signal there because it's to the left of mid-off, and they do, in fact, take that one. Burns goes to 25. But again, I mean, he has tumbled across towards that ball, which must be slightly off-putting for the slip there.
Yeah, he takes a step forward and to his right, so then it creates a bigger gap, and Razzie is wondering, should he be tighter? But no, but de Kock starts closer to him.
It also meant de Kock couldn't get across to him.
Yeah, if he'd stayed in the position that he was in, as Philander was just before Philander started his run-up, or just as he was getting into his run-up, he would have probably had that comfortably enough.
Maybe he's reading an in-swinger out of the hand.
Well, it could be that, couldn't it? Or he's just, yes, he's, or misreading, should we say. This is too wide of the off-stump and left alone by Sibley. But, yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it, seeing that replay and seeing what he does there.
Because it's just a regulation edge. You know, the bowler, you shouldn't be fannying around. That should be swallowed by a first slip.
Well, I think the first slip is a bit too wide as well.
But maybe he's too wide because de Kock is...
Yeah.
Well, I think, in theory, it should make it easier with de Kock, because you know he's going to dive at everything. I think the worst thing for a first slip is not knowing whether the keeper's going to dive or not.
Yeah, you could say that, but I mean, it happens so quickly, and if someone does, and I think the one in the first innings, it must have really affected his peripheral vision to see this guy's diving almost right in front of him. Philander bowls, defended square by Sibley on the front foot. And again, no run. 32 for no wicket. Burns has 25 of those, but he's had a life. Sibley is on 3.
It was there was a ridiculous one in the first innings where Quinton de Kock actually dived past first slip to take a catch. Who was that off? That was off Butler, I think.
Was it? I can't remember that one.
It was, yeah.
It was like, I don't trust you, Rassie, I've got this.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Rassie. Maybe he'd be happier at second slip where someone's not diving in front of him. Perhaps any of our South African listeners can tell us where he normally fields, if that's a position that he regularly takes up. Last ball of the over is left alone again. 32 for no wicket.
Let's get on the tweets. Abhishek Chopra wants more technical analysis on Nortje's run-up. Needs to either run in faster or be more relaxed. Seems to be jumping up and down for a long time in the run-up, but it doesn't seem to do anything for him. All his pace comes from how he gets through the crease.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you're not wasting energy, are you? Are you? I mean, having a relaxed run-up is a good thing, isn't it?
He might be saying that his run-up's maybe a bit too long.
Oh, okay.
But we'll watch that more closely.
Abhishek says, you remember Shubman Gill, don't you? 100 today for him in the Ranji Trophy, while most other top batsmen have struggled in pace bowler-friendly conditions across the country.
Lovely player, Shubman Gill.
Well, there are just so many good cricketers coming. Just the depth of talent now in India just seems extraordinary. I mean, you've had Agarwal, haven't you, picking up hundreds here, there, and everywhere.
Shaw's back from his ban.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, India have finally sort of harnessed the sheer weight of human resources at their disposal, and in the fast bowlers as well. Which has taken a long time, but now they've got a genuine battery of fast bowlers.
Yes. Nortje bowls slightly back of a length, and Burns comes across and defends on the back foot. 88 miles an hour. Let's have a look at this run-up in a minute, but carry on with the tweets.
Well, there's Neymar Butland's. I can't believe that England is playing cricket in a town named after a character in the life of Brian.
Centurion.
And just for fun, he puts in hashtag biggest tickets.
It's good stuff.
Maverick Land not swallowed due to a flying de Kock. That's a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, would you really?
5
that much?
Yeah.
Full ball on leg stump and whipped away. Lovely stroke. He doesn't mind it there at all. Through mid wicket. 4 runs.
2 + 2 is our member.
I think you just absolutely love a fast bowler who doesn't do any, or isn't doing anything with a particular delivery that lands in the half volley section of your legs is what every opening batsman desires in his dreams at night.
I mean, Rory Burns is very fluent through mid-wicket.
Most players are, really. I mean, most good openers are good off their legs. And it wasn't anywhere near a half volley, actually, to be fair. It was a good length ball, really, but he watched it and played it nicely. Round the wicket now he comes, and again nicely met by Burns, but into the ground, which slows it up, gives Philander, I think it was, Rabada the chance to come across and do the necessary at mid-off. 36 for no wicket, Burns 29, Sibley 3.
Abhishek, who really has his bins out today, says amazing how Philander gets the ball to do so much, but his seam position is never as perfect as Shami in it.
Ah, well, there you go. Yes, it's almost like a little sort of trot, isn't it, up to the wicket. This one is a full delivery, dug out by Burns up to mid-on.
Well, for about the 5th time today to plug a piece I wrote about seam positions, I wrote a little piece on my blog about the best 10 seam positions in world cricket after Bharat Aaron, the Indian bowling coach, said that Shami had the best seam position in world cricket. So I had a look. I sort of tried to work out whether that was true. Turns out probably. But yeah, a few made that. It was just fun to kind of go through the footage and have a look at the stills and the slow-mos.
Have we had the top 5 yet?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, sorry.
knucklepande.com/blog.
With that. Thanks, Knuckle.
Nortje in, bowls again, whipped away through mid-wicket. Is there anyone out there? No. It's meat and drink for Rory Burns at the moment. He's picked up another 4 runs.
Yeah, an opening partnership of 2 halves. Rory Burns, now 33 off 34 balls. Dom Sibley, 3 off 31.
Well, that's, that kind of partnership is what good opening stands can be built on, can't it? Your sheet anchor, as it used to be called. I mean, not that Rory Burns normally goes at such a pace as this, but where there are gaps and there's a hard new ball, you have to take advantage as much as you can. He's onto the back foot to this one and defends it all the way up to mid-off. And there is no run.
Even so, Rory Burns has scored more runs than Dom Sibley has faced deliveries.
He has indeed, absolutely.
On the Crick Tracker, let's say hello to some people. Sheikh Sahanawaz gives us some good copies. South Africa will win Test match by a good margin. England to chase 376 in 4 innings, which is quite difficult. I'm sure that at one stage England will be 200 for 3, then all out within 300. Let's enjoy Test cricket, implores Sheikh Sahanawaz.
Well, indeed.
And I echo that. Shalauddin says 300 all out. Muhammad Nashim, Jitendra Chaudhry, hi. Jangir Ansari, hi. Karya Kumar, just ha. And Deepak Kumar Vishwakarma, very nice.
I do like the people who stop long enough to say ha.
Yeah.
That is good.
Perhaps we got a laugh out of.
I don't know. Do we
Karya
look
Kumar.
particularly funny? I don't know. Or maybe we said
No,
something
said
funny.
nothing.
Who knows? This interesting thing about this seam position, malarkey, I'll come back to it, is Philander's into Sibley, and Sibley leaves a ball that's just hinting at away movement and is through behind the stumps. Are we talking about the seam as it goes down the wicket, or are we talking about the wrist position and the holding of the ball?
A little bit of both, because the latter informs the former, but it is the seam as it goes down, as it's presented in terms of how upright it is and how steady it is, and the control that particular bowler seems to have over it, and also what it allows them to do as a bowler.
And I guess also, it's not just the seam positions, but it's actually the qualities or of the ball itself, that individual ball that you're using. He's played at that one. He started it closer to off stump and got it to just move away in the air. So, luckily enough, didn't get an edge on it.
It may not be a coincidence that Philander, Hazelwood and Cummins, who are probably the best 3 exponents of the slightly wobbly seam, bowl with the kookaburra more often, where you don't have the seam being as proud as, say, the Duke or the SG. So you have to introduce that to do a little bit more. To be able to introduce that little bit of movement, that little bit of variation. Whereas if you're Anderson or Shummy bowling with the SG, that's got quite a proud seam.
I think the wobbly bowlers that I remember is someone like Terry Alderman or Mohammed Asif, who I thought was a beautiful bowler. Well played by Sibley, just dabs this into the offside, and he knows that Philander's a terrible fielder. He won't leave a terrible fielder off his own bowling, and he's quite slow over to that. So they come through for the single. 41 for no wicket. Sibley's on to 4.
Yeah, and another one I pick out in the piece, Mohammed Abbas, is another kind of wobbly.
I think he's a little bit quicker though, isn't he? I think than those other guys.
But in terms of the seam position, right? Yeah. Mohammed Asif was an absolute master.
Yeah. When did we last see him in action? Was that the 2010 series?
Yeah, it was. Him and Amir.
Oh, that's a shame. I really enjoyed watching him. Philander again, now to Burns. 3 slips waiting, and again just dropped into the offside, and actually the fielder's not really back on his heels, but that's a much greater understanding shown between these two to get through for that one. Scrambled through. 42 for no wicket, Burns 34.
Messi says, in the current circumstances, Hendo, I think what England really need is more of a shit anchor.
Oh, God. Dear, oh dear. I don't know whether they've got the runs, actually. I mean, it could just be, it just could be shivery, sweaty.
Vomiting has been talked of.
Vomiting. I mean, to be honest, I have to say, if you want to be really graphic, I prefer the opposite to vomiting. If I have a choice between vomiting and the other thing, I will take the other thing.
I agree, actually.
Philander is in. Balls to Sibley. Any left alone outside the All-Star. Any preference, Rog?
I like sitting down, put it that way. I really enjoy sitting down. I'm very good at sitting down. But usually watching cricket is my preferred mode.
Indeed, indeed. 42 without loss. Someone I knew, funnily enough, talking of such things, someone I knew posted a travel article on Facebook last night, which involved the finest view from a lavatory. And it was on Sky Athos. It was absolutely gorgeous.
There used to be a gents' lose at Lords where you could see the pitch.
Excellent. Philander in, bowls, and Sibley chops this. He's going to get runs on the offside, I tell you. In pursuit is Maharaj. He slides, pulls it up. It's not going to be a boundary. Throws on the turn. And, they might have got 3 there, but they've got 2. England move to 44 for no wicket. The Bear is waiting. He has bottle in hand.
Yeah, there still are. They're standy up loos in the members at Lords, run by the new bit. Where the old commentary boxes used to be.
Could be irritating if there's a long queue, couldn't it? If someone's just standing there, sort of enjoying the cricket. Maybe they got a better view there from their actual seat. Yeah, exactly.
Are we having a change?
I'm presuming that's why the Bears come. Oh, hang on. Is that the end of the over?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or I'll jump out of the way then. Keep us going until someone gets into the next chair.
Yeah, a few tweets. Abhishek, a few overs for Keshav tonight, you reckon? I'm sure he will come on. Might not be what Rory Dom were expecting at this stage or are particularly good at. Well, Burns likes to sweep the spinner. And they both got out to Mitch Santner in Mount Wanganui in the second innings.
It's not Keshav Maharaj yet, but I don't think we'll... if these two keep going, then I don't think Keshav Maharaj will be that far away. Anrich Nokia is the man, though, currently propelling the orb from the Hennep's River End. He's outside off stump and punched by Rory Burns into the point region. There is no run. 45 for no loss. England in response to, in a chase of 376, but let's not worry about that too much just yet. The naught is the important bit for England at this stage. You join us half an hour into the final session of day 3 of the first test between South Africa and England at Centurion. I'm Knuckle M. Pandey, taking you through the next half an hour on Ball by Ball. Roger McCann, whose voice you just heard, is reading your tweets and Facebook messages as Nokia is into Dom Sibley, who plays this nicely from the line of off stump into mid-wicket. Keshav Maharaj fields, and Nigel the Bear Walker is to my right, playing the jingles.
Dom Sibley has scored 50% of his runs on the offside now.
In this innings, yes.
Yes.
Arthur Patricia, England wouldn't get these runs with 20 wickets in hand, but given the illness situation, it could all get India in Kingston 76 pretty quickly.
Is that when they almost pulled off a...
no, that was when there were 4 men absent.
Oh, yes, Bishan Bedi, I think, declared the innings, batting second, to avoid his bowlers having to face up to the bouncer barrage. This is back of a length from Anrich Nokia. Sibley stands up tall and punches this off the back foot to Kahisa Rabada at mid-on. There is no run. Sibley seems quite comfortable when it's just back of a length.
And on the issue, the rather indelicate issue that Hendo raised, Anna Forsyth is encouraging. Just before she arrives with a beer, she says 1 vote for vomming here. And then Dr. Leonie Hicks says too much information, far too much information. I agree. It's not. It's lunchtime. People are listening over their lunches. They don't want to be
it's 1:30.
Hearing about such
Nokia 3 slips in place, goes wider in the crease, and again back of a length. And again, Sibley, who is quite a tall man, plays this at the top of its bounce.
He's a beefy man. You imagine if he gets there and starts getting in, and you're going to hit the ball quite
Back of it-
hard.
Yeah, defended back to the ball. There is no. I mean, that 200 you're talking about for Surrey when he was, 17 or so?
18, just turned 18.
He was battering the ball all over the place. But
Has
does
he
hit-
changed? Was he a more offsided player earlier in his career?
He was a more aggressive player younger in his younger days, but he's certainly this. We were talking about this. He has opened his stance out after having to make some technical adjustments because he was short of runs, and this is the game that he's discovered. And it's the game that scored him bucket loads of runs for Warwickshire. That's a fend outside off stump. Nokia with that angle. Bowling from wider on the crease, I think just got that to hold its line, and Dob Sibley fenced at it definitely past the outside edge through to Quinton de Kock. There is no run. First false shot in a little while from either Sibley or Burns. Nokia extracting a moral victory. Yeah, it did just hold its line a little bit, and Sibley shouldn't have been.
No, he shouldn't have been waggling his bat.
Yeah,
Quite away from his body. He's gone at the ball with a bat rather than let the ball come to him.
Yeah, particularly off the back foot as well. You can understand if that's a fuller length delivery that you're playing at, but defensive shots to balls that aren't going to hit the stumps, not a good idea. 3 slips in a gully, and a very actually quite short point. That's much more where Dom Sibley likes it. That's onto his hips, and he works it away very nicely, very fine for 4.
No, good shot.
Dom Sibley moves to 10.
Double figures.
Indeed, and England are 49 for no loss.
That 242 he made was off 536 balls in a minute short of 10 hours.
Ooh.
He hit 24 fours and 2 sixes.
Oh, so maybe not so much biffing.
No, and he batted with Hashim Amla for a lot of it. He made 151. And Gary Wilson, lucky boy, just towards the end. And then Gary Balance made 200s in the match. I remember that just before he went down under to make his Test debut. That was the summer of 2013.
Yeah.
Last game of the season.
Remember when England could ditch someone like Gary Balance at a moment's notice? We do have a change finally at the pavilion, and a long spell from Werner Philander, who bowled, well, not that long actually, 6 overs either side of tee, but it is this man. In comes Pretorius outside off stump to the left-handed Rory Burns from over the wicket. The right-arm bowler on Test debut, left alone by Burns through to the keeper Quinton de Kock. There is no run. Dwayne Pretorius was wearing a very heavy bit of strapping on his right hand, but obviously had to take that off to bowl.
Yeah, I thought Pretorius was good in his first outing in the first innings.
Well, I thought his first spell was quite poor, but then he came back. He got that wicket. I can't remember whose wicket it was.
Denley
that got
was
him
a big,
going. Was it
big
Denley?
wicket of Denley.
It was the one that nibbled in off
And
the
that was
seam.
a really good ball. That was actually a quality ball.
Pretorius in a short ball, and Burns has picked this up well and helps it round the corner, but straight to Kagiso Rabada at long leg. They come through for a single. Yeah, Dwayne Pretorius and Philander. It's interesting you get these sort of bowling pairs. So it's Nokia and Rabada are the two fast men, and then Pretorius and Philander are the men who try and put it on a spot and move it about and have more control.
And they always have one with the other. Rarely do they bowl the two fast men together, which is good, I think. You know, it gives the batsman something to think about. One end you're getting it's coming onto you quicker, and the next end you've got to give yourself a little bit
I
more
think it
time.
wasn't until the tail was in that they had Nokia and Rabada bowling together.
Yeah.
50-run partnership for England with that single, 50 off 80 balls, dominated by Rory Burns with 36, 10 for Sibley. But
Rory Burns looks very comfortable as an opener now, doesn't he? I mean, it's only taken, how many tests he played now? 10?
yeah, he looks pretty comfortable in his own skin, Rory Burns.
Yeah.
He's very good at the field, actually. He's a super gully fielder.
He seems to have got it in his head that he's now an England player and feels at ease.
2 slips on a gully, so really moral victory, I guess, from Sibley, that he's seen off the opening bowlers and that one of the slips has come out. This is full outside off stump, and Sibley leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run.
Yeah, county captain of Surrey now, been in that job for a good while and very well respected. And he brought them a title a couple of years ago, did Rory Burns, and a lot of people might even think that he could take over that job for England.
Well, he's the only one on the side who's actually got captaincy experience.
Yeah.
Pretorius in closer to the stumps this time and back of a length, and Sibley sort of puts the bat there really, and it dribbles off that
Does he have
bat
a cut
to
shot?
backward point. There is no run, not that we've seen in Test cricket so far. I think it's one of those things that he gets more confident through the offside as the innings goes on. But
Well,
it could
that's
take a
fair
while.
enough. If he thinks everything's on the leg side and that's his scoring area, he's not going to expand until he's happy, is he? Which is fair enough, but the cut shot should be in every batsman's book. You know?
Rory Burns plays the cut shot very well.
Exactly.
He
Well, a
uppercut.
lot of left-handers do. You know.
He uppercuts quite well. He was doing it off Cummins and Hazelwood during the Ashes as Pretorius on Test debut is in back of a length, and Sibley plays this one nicely off the back foot to mid-wicket. Scuttles through to that man at mid-wicket. There is no run. Tight to off-stump Dwayne Pretorius.
Mog reminds us that vomiting is great for one's abs muscles. Which is what?
Good for weight loss too, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah. No, don't be encouraging that kind of thing.
I'm not encouraging that kind of thing, but I'm just saying.
Beijing Ducks CC says, who's still bothered about numbers on test shirts? I kind of am, but
You're getting used to it now, aren't you?
well, I have to.
As Pretorius is in last ball of his first over. Is outside off stump, a lifter, but well wide of off stump. Tight stuff from Dwayne Pretorius. England 50 for no loss.
Well, South Africa will be thinking a little bit here. They thought they'd had a couple of wickets by now, you'd have thought. A couple of newbies, and well, no, Sibley certainly being a newbie, they'll want to get him out early. But even though he's only got 10 runs, he's faced an awful lot of deliveries. How many overs have we had now?
We have had 14. Yeah, Dom Sibley 10 off 44. Rory Burns 36 off 39. Yeah, this is Rory Burns' 15th test.
Yeah, and if these guys can get another 10 overs before anything happens, ideally longer, but at least that.
And they're not just
ball will be getting a little bit softer,
and they're not just doggedly blocking either. England are scoring at 3.2 and over. They're finding the singles on both sides of the wicket. I think that's the one thing that Dom Sibley can introduce into his game is sort of single scoring options on the offside. Would just make his life a bit easier.
Yeah, but if he stays there long enough, he'll learn that kind of thing. I mean, that's what I mean. You look at how Burns, when we first saw Burns, was that in Sri Lanka?
Yes, that is when he debuted. But he looked in that Ireland test at Malahide. Rory Burns,
not
at Malahide. Sorry, when Ireland came and played at Lords. Rory Burns looked awful through that test match,
and then scored a ton in the first test. Although you get dropped twice, 2 or 3 times, didn't he?
And don't forget to be dropped here on 20.
Yep.
So 16 bonus runs he's added. Relatively straightforward one to Van der Dussen at first slip. He had to go to his right, and he had De Kock fanning around in front of him.
Should have been pouched by a good test class first slip fielder. Short leg in place, and Anrich Nokia does bowl short, but it's well outside off stump, and Burns, well, he ducked, but he didn't really need to. Through to the keeper it goes, there is no run. We did see Australia really peppering Rory Burns with the short ball throughout that Ashes series. It was an interesting stat that with every subsequent test, the percentage of short balls that he, or percentage of deliveries that he faced that were short went up. But he has found a method of sorts. Rory Burns.
Yeah, well, when he did get dropped, didn't he go on and he got 2 tons after getting dropped in the Ashes?
He got 100 at Edgbaston.
Yep. Got dropped on
Nortje outside off stump and left alone. Through to Quinton de Kock it goes. There is no run.
So he makes the opposition pay if he does get dropped, which is always a good sign.
On the crick tracker, Mohammed Shah Khan Turakel says, great job.
Thank you.
Alibaba, hello all of you guys, how are you?
Well, very well. How are you, sir?
Yeah, we're grand, Ali. Where are you watching and listening to us from? Let us know.
Narayana Chari, hi everybody. Hello to you.
In comes Nortje with his very measured, rhythmical run-up. He's in. That's a good short ball. It doesn't quite get up, and Burns was a little bit unsure what to do with it.
Very quick adjustment.
It came into him sharply, and I think he was expecting to just be able to leave that, but then he did manage to get the bat on it. And as you say, quick adjustment, especially at Nortje's pace, drops it into the offside. There is no run. Yeah, Rory Burns' other test time was in the second test of the New Zealand series at Hamilton.
Oh, did he get a 90 in
He got an 81 at Old Trafford, and a 53 at Lords, and a 47 at the Oval. So there were plenty of starts.
Pretty good Ashes, really.
Yeah, the only opener to make any kind of impression at all for on either side. Back of a length from Nortje onto the pads of Rory Burns, and he runs this down behind square. Dwayne Pretorius fields at long leg. They come through for a single.
Sean at Shubelux, also known as Nestle Boy, has tweeted in with an accompanying photo, making a claim to be the first person to tune in from a cave.
Ooh. Well, I can see those. Those look absolutely beautiful.
Let's have a look.
That's a cracker. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Are there bats in that cave?
Looks as though Anrich Norkia might have been pulled up for a no ball. We'll try and confirm that. Crick Info is a little bit behind. Anrich Norkia stops his run up this time as Dom Sibley has spotted something or other behind the bowler's arm as he comes in from the Hennops River end. Nope, no ball signalled apparently. So possibly he was over the line but not called. Back of a length outside off stump is Anrich Norkia and pushed off the back foot by Sibley to cover. There is no right. Apologies for the bum steer, listeners. Norkia has been the fastest bowler on either side by a good 5 kilometres an hour over Kahisa Rabada, averaging 145.6 kilometres an hour, which is almost 90.5 miles an hour. Genuinely rapid.
On average as well.
Yeah. I don't think he's bowled any slower balls, unlike Archer, which obviously would drag his average speed down a bit. Norkia in last ball of the over, wide of the crease, and that beats Dom Sibley. Again, that angle out from wide on the crease and just leaving the right-handed Dom Sibley, and again he pokes at it slightly without really going back or forward. Couple of little bits of alarm for Dom Sibley to Anrich Norkia, but he survives. England 51 for no loss.
Seems to be watching the hand now. He's you can see what's going on. Maybe I'm slightly warming to him a bit now. Maybe that's because he's survived this long. Even though he hasn't scored many runs. I quite like that.
That's his game. That's certainly been his game in county cricket for Warwickshire for the last little while.
We have Terry Coffey listening to us while walking his dogs, which he sends a nice photo of.
Lovely.
Terry Coffey, it goes at USA_cricketer. And he's a new name to me. He's a writer, daddy, fly fisher, and cricket fan from Indiana.
Nice.
He want to promote cricket to Americans, but he's not affiliated with any official group. Well, if you'll have us, we would like to be affiliated with you, Terry.
We've got
and your dog.
A very great friend of the show, Jeff Perkins, is based out in Indiana. We'll have some guerrilla meetups, perhaps. Bit of a delay as Dwayne Pretorius comes in, or is about to come in from the pavilion end. He's in to his run-up now, right arm over the wicket to the left-handed Rory Burns, as Pretorius is in outside off stump. Burns stands up tall and rides the bounce, and out to Rudy Second, the sub-fielder coming round from cover point. There is no run. He's on because Aidan Markram yesterday hurt his hand in slip fielding practice and was revealed to have a fractured finger. He's having surgery soon and will be out for 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Finger well and truly busted. A chance perhaps for Peter Malan at the top of the order for the second test, the New Year's test from Cape Town. Pretorius in outside off stump. Burns has a big drive at that off the front foot outside off stump and is beaten on the outside edge. That was all hands from Rory Burns. He gets a bit of weight transfer, but the foot wasn't anywhere near the line of the ball and the head didn't seem to be either. A chance semi-given, but the edge missed. There is no run.
Yeah, his foot was down a completely different line, wasn't it?
Driving on the up too. A little bit of extra bounce, I think, from Pretorius. He bowled that with a scrambled seam, interestingly.
There's been a lot of scrambled team on the replays I've noticed throughout the test.
It's a Liam Plunkett special. Pretorius in back of a length and nudged by Pretorius into the leg side. Keshav Maharaj fields at mid-wicket. There is no run. The doorbell has gone, and I think that is our transplanted Vancouverite who may be joining us.
With beer. Yay!
Excellent North American interest. I'm trying to think, have you ever been to Indiana? What do I know about Indiana? It's the home of basketball. Is it the cradle of basketball almost? Certainly a strong tradition there. With the Hoosiers,
the Indiana
and the Pacers. Yeah. My brother-in-law used to teach at DePaul University. I wonder if Terry...
2 slips in a gully as Pretorius is into Burns. A little bit of nibble across the left-hander, and Burns just pushes into the offside. Fielded by Dean Elgar at mid-wicket. There is no run. Not the best test for Dean Elgar, who got an absolute cracker actually from Archer in the second innings, and has played an unusually sort of aggressive innings for Dean Elgar.
Yeah, he looked really good. He was pushing boundaries, his technique looked really in sync. He's a class player. You might say he's a world opener.
Certainly in the conversation. He's not had a great run recently, but he is a player who takes a lot of getting out usually. Yeah. A little bit of again movement across the right hander from Pretorius. He's bowling these sort of cuttery type things where he's taking one finger off the seam. It's an interesting delivery from Pretorius. It's just a little bit of cut across the left-hander. Burns pushes it to mid-off. There is no run.
It's almost dibbly-dobbly pace.
76 miles an hour, that last one. He can be a little bit quicker than that, but he's never been quick. Well, no, that's not true. Back of a length outside off stump, and that was a little bit quicker from Pretorius, and pushed off the back foot to mid-off. There is no run. Good stuff from Dwayne Pretorius, a maiden, and a genuine play and miss drawn from Rory Burns. There is no run. England 51 for no loss. He was a bit quicker in his younger days, but I think combination of injuries and being a bit profligate meant that he decided that I'm going to concentrate on line and length and moving the ball.
Okay, fair enough.
Phobophobiac, who tweets to us from the Tar Heel state of North Carolina. So the main thing I know about Indiana is it has the Indianapolis 500 and a lot of good basketball players, most notably home to Larry Bird.
A genuine legend of the game.
The Hick from French Lick. That was his nickname.
That was good knowledge.
Abhishek Chopper said, bats in the cave means nestlers can do some shadow practice. He's more of a golfer. He'd probably be practicing his golf swing.
Nokia in wide of the crease. You're right, Barry. It's a real change of pace with Nokia and Pretorius.
Totally.
You have to adjust yourself very sharply. Sibley on the back foot just rides the bounce and plays it on the bounce to gully. There is, or third slip really, there is no run. I think you've probably got the fastest seam bowler and the slowest seam bowler on either side bowling in tandem.
I guess there's an advantage not rotating the strike here, actually, because you get used to the pace at your end, whereas if you constantly changing it, it's it's a good 25 clicks.
Yeah, England have only scored 2 runs off the last 3 overs. Not that bothered about it, but a little bit of strike rotation would be helpful. That's well wide of off stump by Anrich Nokia, left alone to Sibley, by Sibley rather, through to the cot. There is no run.
Abhishek suddenly has an urge to see a good short ball from Pretorius. Could be the Wagner effect, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Neil Wagner, extraordinary cricketer, isn't he? Just keeps on taking wickets.
Third best bowler in the world.
Third ranked bowler in the world, as we saw yesterday.
Yeah, rightly so. Yeah, and Trent Bolt ruled out for the rest of this test and the SCG test. Surely Lockie Ferguson's got to get a go.
He must do. Maybe they think he'll just spray it around in the test and get hit for runs.
I mean, he actually did in the one test. He did play and then got injured. Short ball, and but Sibley saw it coming all the way and fell to his knees and swayed inside the line of the ball. Through to the keeper. There is no run.
Yeah, apparently the Aussie bowling was just terrific though in this bowling at New Zealand for 140.
Pat Cummins.
I didn't
Cummins,
see any of it.
I mean, I saw a little bit of Stark, and he looked like he was bowling it rapid, properly rapid, really hurrying the batsman. When I turned it on, they'd lost 5 and they were about 60 off for 5, so it was quite near the beginning of the day. They got a few runs. Fucking Matthew Wade bowled an over for no reason whatsoever after about half an hour and got hit for about 13, and then
as Nokia is in a full delivery, good change up, but it ends up as a low full toss. It was an attempted Yorker. Sibley pushes it past the man at mid-wicket and gets that single. That's good from Sibley, being aware of his single scoring options and not going completely into his shell. And finally the strike is rotated. I was thinking this through in the New Zealand series. Sibley is very patient and he does leave well outside off stump, but the fact that he cannot or at least early in his innings, he hasn't yet found a ways to even score singles into the offside means he's a bit easier to bowl to. And the fact that he is the idea of being patient is that it's meant to wear the bowlers down.
Well, I don't think he needs a release shot. I mean, you look at the likes of Root or whatever, and
run it down to third man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something like that. We're not saying he has to start booming cover drives at everything. That's outside off stump from Anrich Nokia, a bit fuller. And Burns pushes into the offside. Rabada fields at mid-off. There is no run, but just something.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, someone's bowling at 90 miles an hour. All you've got to do is get your bat on it and angle it in the right direction. You're going to run it down to the boundary area. If there's a man down there, you're going to get a single. And if he's not, you've got a good chance of getting a 4, as long as you can miss the field.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than as a bowler than having a good ball hit for 1. Really, I think I'd prefer to be hit back over my head for 6 as a spinner than I would be for that same good ball to be nudged for a single.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got some idiots pushing you for 5 singles and over, it's really irritating.
Last ball of the over from Anrich Nokia, bowling to the left-handed Rory Burns. That's back of a length and nicely nudged by Burns. Really nicely timed. He does time the ball beautifully through mid-wicket, and it's a long chase for the man at mid-wicket, and he's not going to get there. 4 runs to Rory Burns. He moves to 41. Dom Sibley off 11. Is on 11. They face the exact same number of deliveries. England are 56 for no loss.
Good batting here from England.
Nestle says no cricket-related things here in the cave, just moss and rocks. Tricky climb to get up and into them. Be careful, Nestlers.
Yeah, be very careful.
Diana Patterson said University of Indiana School of Music is very well respected for classical musicians, and that reminds me, I do know a couple of cellists who went there, British people that went there for a year or two and came back, so there must be a particular cello teacher out in the States that has a good rep.
Presumably there's an NFL team, isn't Indiana?
Indianapolis Colts would be the ones. Yeah,
They're not the Colts anymore, no?
No, they are.
Oh, still are.
They came over from Baltimore in the middle of the night in 1983,
In the middle of the
84.
night?
Yeah, the owner just stole the franchise from Baltimore. He'd been doing shady dealings with the city of Indianapolis,
Like the Dodgers.
and they packed up the trucks in the middle of the night and shipped them out from Baltimore. And
Baltimore got the Ravens.
Baltimore got their own franchise back. Yeah, then a few years later, but.
As Pretorius is in, long and lean, almost a gaunt fellow. That's pitched up on the stumps, and that's a nice shot by Sibley, playing that from off stump into the leg side. But he does find that man at sort of shortish, squarish mid-wicket, who is Dean Elgar, and there is no run yet. Dwayne Pretorius does look like he could do with a good feed.
Yeah, there's not so many conservatoires as per se in the United States. There's Juilliard in New York, you've got Curtis Institute in Philadelphia, but then a lot of these huge universities, of course, have good performance study programs.
As Pretorius is in, ball's quite close to the stumps, and that's a nice shot by Sibley. Just waits on it as it swings away from him a little bit, and he pushes to mid-off. Keshav Maharaj fields at mid-off. There is no run. I don't think it'll be too long before we see Maharaj.
I considered a little 6-month Erasmus thing at the University of North Texas when there was a teacher there, a guy called Jeff Braditich, who was I wish I'd gone. I didn't in the end, but it did offer me. I did go back to my teacher and say it's a shame I didn't even get it to at least see UNT.
Back of a length outside off stump, and dives rather through to Quinton de Kock outside off stumper. There is no run. Yeah, a friend of mine who is more into the sort of electronic music stuff spent a semester in New Orleans.
Nice, yeah. New Orleans, I'd love to visit.
And maybe going to Nashville for the first time this summer.
Oh yeah,
which might be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anna's here, so we're going to have a change soon. We're going to hear from her. But here's a quick one from Abhishek. Your top 3 cricket bat brands.
Pretorius in, back of a length, and a lovely forcing shot, almost Jacques Callis-esque from Dom Sibley, standing up tall and with a vertical bat punching it into the leg side. They take 2 runs to Anrich Norkia, who comes around from deep square leg. Sibley moves to 13. 2 balls left of, as I say, the rather gaunt-looking Dwayne Pretorius's spell. He has taken the strapping off his right hand. Sorry, sir, Hendo, what was the change going to be? I'll do jingles. Roger's going to come into ball by ball. And we will have guest tweet reader Anna Forsyth making her Guerrilla Cricket on mic debut, having graced our Twitter feeds from the other end, as it were. Back of a length outside off stump, and Sibley levers bat well out of way of ball. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run. Pretorius bowling tidily, but with no real threat at this stage.
Top 3 cricket bat brands, Bear? Rob Pack, I suppose.
Well, indeed.
Rob Pack won.
Guerrilla Cricket bat's absolute beauty. For personal, Slazenger.
Never been a Slazenger man. A Kookaburra I've had. I liked Kookaburras. Gray Nichols.
I had a Kookaburra. I didn't like it that much, actually.
I quite like mine.
Newberries are lovely. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Last ball of the over from Dwayne Pretorius. Ooh, that seems to swing out and then swing back in again. Pretorius has got a bit of the Philanders about him, which is no bad thing. Which is not something you catch from inadvertent contact with the little Vernons, as we mentioned earlier. Last ball of the over, that was. England 58 for no loss, and
let's have some changing around.
Doing as well as could be expected, really.
The best things in life are free. Just like Guerrilla Commentary, we need money. That's what I want. .com/Guerrilla Cricket. We need money. I don't like the BBC. I prefer Guerrilla Commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want.
We're back, and we're delighted to welcome for the first time on the airwaves a good friend of Guerrilla Cricket, Anna Forsyth. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Rog. How's it going?
Pretty well, thanks. Delighted to meet you, and delighted to share this cricket with you and all our listeners. As England on 58 for none, or Burns is facing up to Rabada coming over the wicket, and he just squared up a touch, but he safely plays it out to mid-off. Knuckles staying with us on the jingles.
Indeed, and announcing the rotation of the fast men at the Hemps River end.
What's his name? He's a high roller, rock and roller, scariest, deadliest, killingest bowler. He can sink your oats like the Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one harder. What's his name? What's his name?
Over the wicket, back of a length, a quick single into the offside. Burns to 42. Anna, you tell us a bit about yourself. You're from Vancouver. You haven't come from there today.
No, I haven't. Originally from West London, and I've
Right.
been in Vancouver the last 5 years, just under. So just back visiting the family for Christmas.
Just want to get that mic a little bit closer to the mouth, so we can. You have to get pretty up close on these things.
Okay, let's get intimate.
Indeed. So, what took you to Vancouver?
I went there for study abroad, and just loved the city really. I'll break off.
Yeah, I've never been to Canada. This is back of a length, defended by Sibley. But you stay in touch with the cricket out there. Do you watch any of the cricket that takes place there?
There's not a lot that takes place there.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, I've been told that there is cricket to be had. I've just made friends with someone whose partner plays, so maybe there is cricket japes to be had if you go looking.
I've seen a bit of the one time I've been to Vancouver. It's actually when the first time Anna and I met. I did see some club cricket played in the park in Vancouver.
This is nicely tapped off the pads by Sibley, and he gets it fine enough. Long leg was very square, and Sibbers to 17.
Indian diaspora dominated as it would tend to be, and certainly in Toronto, where there's a massive Punjabi population, there'll be a bit more played. But you've not partaken of the global T20, Anna.
No, and that's actually, despite all the varied names for the franchises, all takes place in a park near Toronto. I don't think they have any connection with the cities that they're named after.
Right. I did not know that. That's left alone by Sibley.
But
it makes a lot of sense.
I do support the Vancouver Knights.
Good.
Sure.
Rassie van der Dussen is a Vancouver Knights alum.
Right. Chris Gale.
Less salubriously.
Still, yeah. Well, Rassie's had a good day today. Although he's cost his side at least 22 runs off Rory Burns' bat. And England almost down to 300 to chase, but they're eking out every run. Can they get a quick single here? No. The man at extra cover is very close, and Sibley stays in his crease. It's the end of another Rabada over. No joy for him yet. 23 runs off 4 overs. England 63 for none. Anna, would you like to take on that onerous job of reading out the tweets?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. So replying to Abhishek's question about the favourite cricket brands, bat brands I should say, Matty Jazz has said Grey Nichols, are there any others? Do you think that's the prominent one? Crickbait says, I thought that was a standard England scorecard, not sure what that's relating to, might be before my time, sorry. Arthur Patricia says Duncan Fernley, Gunnar Moore, Grey Nichols for the favourite bat brands.
Duncan Fernley's got some aesthetic quality to it, for sure.
Yeah. Abhishek Chopra just laughing at Matty Jazz's Grey Nichols comment. And approving of Arthur Shear's choice.
Yeah, Mark Nicholas was a Duncan Fernley man. So that's not good enough for me.
It was the bat of the stylists through the 80s and 90s.
On the Biffer, wasn't Botham? Both of them used to wield his with some force. As Pretorius continues, there's going to be a scrappy couple of leg byes. Just the one. De Kock does really well, flinging it in while his hand is still gloved. And it was off Rory Burns' thigh. And an extra a cruise.
Yeah, I think he had the one with the scoop at the back of it, didn't he? I think, or was the scoop later?
I don't think Duncan Fernley had scoop. It was Gray Nichols did
Gray
the
Nichols
scoop.
the scoop, sorry.
Yeah.
But
Which
you're right.
Gara
both of them
used.
had quite a light bat for a very powerful man. You know, you had Clive Lloyd batting with a tree trunk, and Viv, and Botham with more of the rapier.
Yeah, he used to give it some Humpty. He had removed his glove there. Well done to Cock. Saved a run. There's some sort of hold up anymore. Nuggets.
Yes.
Oh no, so there isn't. Pretorius is in. Sorry on it. Full of length and driven
Oh,
up the street, but
shot.
beats mid wicket, and that's Sibley, and his pump races to the ropes.
Speaking of Mark Nicholas, the very best of Dominic Sibley.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Yeah, full and off stump, but with Sibley's technique, he can take those through the onside. Was it aerial for a while? No, it just there's a man stationed for that, but he got it straight enough to beat him. And he's getting his innings going along nicely now. Sibley, and another full one. He drives even straighter, but that's straight to mid on. Pretorius trying to getting it up there, looking to extract some swing. It is pretty overcast. Has been most of today. And you think Pretorius's main method is as a pitch it up swing bowler.
He was referred to Andile Pequayo for the sort of seam bowling all-rounder slot at 7. I think perhaps because of that ability to move the red ball a bit more.
I'd like to see him tuck his shirt in though, but he's into the crease on a length, defended by Sibley and fielded by mid-wicket.
Yeah, Pretorius, the most South African sounding and looking man there ever was.
Yeah, maybe. There's no excuse to have that shirt untucked though.
Just quickly,
Scrappy.
Mog jumping in, things you don't hear on Guerrilla Cricket very often. Number blank, blank, blank. England are batting well here.
One of the things that has annoyed me most about England and their recent batting woes is that it gives all the people who just like to moan about England batting ammunition. It's just so predictable.
Yeah, well, they're pretty well here. Oh, he's just flicked a glove off Sibley. He was trying to leave it. The Cock was excited. I think he was the only man on the ground who was. And there's no serious appeal. But Sibley just flicked that bat away from danger. Judging a good leave. Faf is trying to work out how to dismiss the obdurate ex-Whitgiftian, ex-Surrey.
One run away from his highest test score, Dominic Sibley.
I wonder if the whole family are out there for this one. He waits sideways on, shifting across the stumps, and a studied leave again through to the keeper. End of the over, 68 for none.
Okay, let me try and rattle through some tweets. Arthur Patricia, for all your negativity, I would wager that Sibley has at least 5,000 test runs, an average of over 40 before all is said and done. Certainly looking more promising right now. We have Captain Mike Yates, Colin Graves, Tom Harrison, Numbnuts, Shriver's son, and then Landfair PG, or the Welsh town that has the long name. You won't catch me out that easily.
Oh dear, the traditional baptism by tongue twister of the new tweet reader. Be nice!
Yes. Abhishek's being nice. He says, Anna, welcome to the madness. So thank you for that. I've just figured out the other tweet. David Wood says, is that the odds or the score? I think that was the 5-2.
Yeah, somebody said they took England at 5-2. What? Madness. Who is offering anyway?
Well, they need 308 to win, and the Kusal Pereira match was a 309 chase. So if England imagine they're none for none as Burns watches Rabada pass harmlessly outside off stump.
I believe that is the only successful fourth innings chase over 250 in South Africa since 2011.
Well, if lightning can strike twice on these South Africans, it'll be fresh in their memories. And for Kusal Pereira, 3 months later we read Ben Stokes, so the ingredients are there.
Kusal Pereira, who was dropped 3 tests later.
Yeah, barmy decision. Rabada around the wicket, so Burns on his pads, nicely clipped away. Should pick up a couple. Philander, can you field well? He does. Easy pick up, although it wasn't maybe so easy for him to bend down. Felt a bit like me reaching for a beer. That's why I keep it in my hand.
Yeah, not the best throw in there.
Do you think Philander might be able to pull rank at Somerset and station himself in the cordon?
Yeah, it's very short square boundary at Somerset, so he can, if he's out there, you can let those go. If they're about 10 yards wide of you, you can just retrieve them. from the siders. Left alone through the keeper. Yeah, go on.
Okay,
Yeah.
quickly.
I'm sure
We've got another cricket bat brands: Duncan Fernley, Gunnar Moore, and what's SS? Excuse my ignorance.
Stuart Surridge. I don't think they make them anymore.
They do under another name now. They've been refounded under the name Swanwick. We had one of the people from Swanwick on the show actually as a guest. But yeah, SS was I think Graham Gooch was an SS man.
SS Jumbo was the big brand sort of in the 90s because Gucci used it. Sibley pushing forward, can't get a run, fielded in the covers. Yeah, those are your sort of the brands we grew up with. PS was one that bloody Lancashire players used to use.
That a local Batman.
Yeah, possibly. And then what was the one that all the Pakistani guys used? In that era.
I'm trying to think. Now they all have Boom Boom branded bats because trying to free the set up a bat making company. Obviously in India you've got they're not so much bat manufacturers as regular bat sponsors like MRF and Hero Honda and a few others.
About it. Oh, this is spiteful hit, takes Burns on the glove, he gets away with it. I think it went square on the wicket. I don't know if the camera didn't follow it terribly well. It was pretty well played because it was threatening the grill of Burns from not that short at 90 miles an hour, and he rode the bounce, brought his gloves up, and didn't know much about where it was going.
Did I hit him on the shoulder?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it came off his mole, maybe.
No, right on the top glove. Yeah, that was kind of how he got out in the second innings at Edgbaston when it carried to point. I think the bowler was Pattinson in that instance. But we didn't actually see where it landed. Frustration for Rabada. It landed safely is all you need to know.
Frustration for ball-by-ball commentators trying to give you precise coverage.
I think maybe there is no point fielder. No, we're still not going to see it. We're going to see Jimmy Anderson bowling one that leapt at de Kock, wrapped him on his middle finger of his bottom hand. But this one leapt even further. Rabada Fuller on the pads, and it's clipped away by Burns. He should get to again to the lumbering Philander. Another poor throw. And South Africa are beginning to look a bit frustrated and a bit ragged themselves, which is this opener's job being done very well. End of the over 72 for none.
Messi Jazz says, welcome Anna, so good to see you in the flesh, as it were. Yeah, for anyone watching on Facebook Live, I'm wearing a Canadian tuxedo as a treat. Captain Mike Yates says, have a good call, Anna, welcome to GC, thank you. Steve Aldersley, like Anna, I also made the West London Uxbridge to Canada move. That was 15 years ago, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Yeah, I'm quite happy. And Abhishek asked about the Sahara Cup venue. I imagine that's in Vancouver somewhere. I don't know where that is.
Oh, that was Toronto. There was that might have been when Inzamam jumped into the crowd and had a go at somebody who was calling him a potato. We do have a change at the pavilion end. Dwayne Pretorius and his nibblers are out, and this man and his tweakers are in.
There's a bowler there from South Africa. Started up bowling pace, but he made the switch. I wonder why, but he's known as Keshav.
Indeed, Yorkshire's Keshav Maharaj.
Very well for Yorkshire in the latter part of the county season last year.
Didn't have to do much bowling in the first innings, maybe only 1 or 2 overs. He helped with an end switch at one point, but he's on now, and he's round the wicket to Sibley on a good length as Sibley pushes forward in defence.
You got 4 overs, 2 of which are end switches.
Right.
Then 1 he got hit for 2 sixes in a row by Ben Stokes.
Of course he did, yeah.
But Keshav Maharaj, I think, is still traumatised by that India tour where the Indian top order treated him with no respect at all.
2 catchers for Sibley's company, and he's pushing back down the pitch in defence again. A short leg and a slip. Pretty regulation field with Maharaj. Will expect to do a good bit more bowling. And this one's outside of stump with a good bit of turn, which Sibley watches into the keeper's gloves. But if you remember, Sibley did follow on from Mitch Santner on that third evening.
It was a dreadful shot.
Yeah,
having had absolutely no single sort of strike rotation options against Santner.
Yeah, he's pushing forward again. This takes the inside edge. Faf is encouraged so far. That one straight on her. but he kept it down. The short leg is leapt over onto the offside, has he? Or keeping Sibley thinking. Yep, he's right in his grill now as Sibley whips this into the mid wicket. It's been caught, but he couldn't keep it down. No, it hasn't. I've been suckered by Philander. Silly
You
me.
wily old man, Vernon.
Silly
You.
me. I whipped it so quickly I couldn't tell. But all along the ground, everybody relax. And short legs back on that onside. And Sibley pushes it into the offside. Backward point does the fielding. A maiden to start with for Keshav. 72 for none.
Sibley still marooned on 21.
Adrian Lowe is with us, says, just joining you chimps. What do you think of 300? Can we do it? And he gives a shout out to Jason.
300, well, of course it can be done. Pereira and Stokes fresh in the memory just goes to prove it.
And Shea Hope, Headingley, not that long ago.
So I'm very impressed with the way these two openers have gone about their business, and probably South Africa will be glad of a little drink which has come onto the park.
Yeah, I think, for England at this stage, and for England fans, and I'm not an England fan, but you kind of end up putting yourself in the position of the team who's behind the game somewhat. Just bat, they've done that very well. They're scoring at now 2.8 and over, but they were scoring it comfortably over 3 and over. You don't even worry about the scoreboard at this stage of the innings. There's 2 days left.
I think it'll be interesting to see how Maharaj goes. I think Curran was getting a little bit of grab out of the pitch with some cutters he was bowling.
Well, I think if he can get the ball to bounce, he could be really quite dangerous. And he does turn the ball a little bit. He's got nice flight. He doesn't. That Mount Maunganui pitch was actually taking quite a bit of turn from Mitchell Santner. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Anna, what have we got?
Jonathan Northall is with us. He's asking if I'm a Canucks fan, and he's hashtagged that Let's Go Pens. Yes, unfortunately, I am a Canucks fan. For interested parties, I have a podcast called C4 Hockey Podcast. All about the Canucks, and I was delighted for the Canucks to beat the Penguins last week, which was a surprise.
Tell us what's the state of the season at the moment, and who's going well?
I really hate to say it, but Boston Bruins.
Oh dear.
Yeah, who are the most loathsome team in my opinion. Colorado Avalanche are a nice young team.
Who are the reigning champions? Didn't the Vegas Knights get going? Didn't win the whole thing, did they?
No, they did reach the final in their first year.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago now.
Right.
But St. Louis Blues beat Boston in the finals, much to the delight of most Canucks fans. So, yeah, but I don't see them repeating that.
You might want to. Listeners might not know what the Canucks Bruins story is, but it's quite not a fun one, but an interesting one.
Yes, Canucks Bruins was the 2011 Stanley Cup final. Canucks were up in the series, all came down to Game 7, and yeah, unfortunately Canucks lost and haven't got close since.
Was there disorder in the streets?
It's the only other time Canadians have been known to riot.
Yeah, I don't like mentioning that, but
you weren't part of that, I'm sure.
I wasn't part of that.
No, quite right.
Were you in Vancouver at the time?
No, I left during the playoffs, but yes, I was watching it at the now defunct sports bar in Haymarket.
Look at what happened when you leave the place. That it all goes to.
Yeah, I'm sure that was it.
Hell.
This is by a distance now Dom Sibley and Rory Burns' best opening partnership at 72. They did put on 50 in both innings at Mount Maunganui, but only 11 in both innings one innings they played at Hamilton, the first innings of this Test match.
Any other tweeters?
Yes, Mog is being his cheeky self. Welcome to the fold, newbie. I won't try and get to say Bradman because I'm too frigging tired. And Abhishek, Udam, black inner gloves for Quinton de Kock. I do not like that at all. White stuff only. Traditionalist.
Me.
Well, we've got some aesthets on mic and on tweet, as it were.
Quite right. And tuck those shirts in.
I agree with that.
Cut those sideburns, Mattingly.
He also says, get in Keshav. And Diana sends us greetings from Calgary. So, hi, Diana Patterson. As a good British Columbian, I try not to go east of the Rockies, ever.
Some good craft beer in Alberta I found when I was out there.
We have better.
I'm sure. Actually, I know.
Rabada resumes around the wicket, the short one that Burns can leave alone.
One of my favourite things about going to North America now is pretty much everywhere you go has got good craft beer. Even like I was up in quite not really northern, not on the Upper Peninsula, but up in northish Michigan, and there was craft breweries everywhere on the roads up there.
Yeah, the craft beer revolution started about 5 years ago, and it's just exploded.
I do like to explore new ways of getting pissed. Rabada on the back of the length, good push by Burns. He'll take full toll all along the ground to the wide of the gully.
And a mini milestone for Rory Burns.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
50 off 62 balls, which is positively rapid for Rory Burns. 8 fours in that time. That's his. I'll come back to that after this ball.
As Rabada follows up with a good one on off stump, defended out to mid-on.
That's his 8th score of 50 plus in Test cricket, 2 of which he's converted to hundreds.
Yeah, I imagine it's his quickest 50. He's been very fluent. He's timed the ball really well. It's an impressive shot. Fully in control, threading between two men behind square on the offside, and he's clipped well off his pads, and he's driven well.
He's taken some advantage of the life he was given by Hendrik Erasmus van der Dussen on 20.
He's waiting now, getting that jaw in order and driving nicely through the covers again. A big chase for Pretorius, which he will not win.
Pretorius has a very upright running stance. It's sort of
Yeah.
Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
It's like looking like he's running like he's being chased by a leopard.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was those long limbs were not able to propel him towards that. It was very nicely timed by Rory Burns.
Perhaps if he had his shirt tucked in, it wouldn't be there would be
The
no drag
drag,
factor.
yeah.
Yeah. But they don't listen, these young lads.
These 30-year-olds.
Yeah. Oh, driving again and missing. Rapata follows up with a snorter that snakes past that outside edge. Burns slightly on the walk, and he takes a deep breath because he survives by the skin of his teeth.
I would say it's always fun watching wickets fall, but there is a real joy and a different type of joy in watching batters figure out good bowling attacks and survive and find ways to score runs. This session hasn't been as madcap.
No, it's been very solid as that defensive shot by Burns up to mid-on. End of another over, and England's target is under 300. They're 80 for none.
Yeah, the session hasn't been as madcap as most of the Test match so far, but there's been plenty to recommend it.
I will try and zoom through some tweets. Loris Jameson says, phone Jack Leach, we might need a one not out. Brendan Allen says, think Vernon Philander batted with an SS in this test.
Oh, good spot.
Now defunct. Mog says, aren't all the bats in India sponsored by concrete companies?
A lot of tyre companies. There used to be a lot of scooter companies. Now there's sort of Nike and Reebok and Puma are getting into the act and sponsoring their own stuff.
Yeah, the one I liked was KL Rahul's Sunny Tunny bat, which was an SG. Maharaj, beats
beauty.
one, a cracker of a slow left arm delivery. Pitched on middle, left Sibley and beat the edge by way too much. You do well to get a touch on that.
Well, that's turned from middle. That's
Yeah.
an absolute beaut.
But he just played down the line, Sibley, at least, and didn't go following it. Maharaj, lovely dip and turn, and this time Sibley's right forward to counter another good one. And Sibley looking around, he has a sort of naturally sort of anxious look to his face, but I think he's looking fairly composed. 74 balls he's been there, and he's right forward with a little bottom hat punch, fielded by mid wicket. There's no run.
Yeah, he's got quite small feet. He's got quite small features, but then very wide eyes, Rory Burns. So it does look as though he's, as you say, worried all the time.
He plays this right under his nose with soft hands. De Kock does the fielding. A little twiddle of the bat in his hands suggests that he's kind of in that zone where he's sort of taking the concentration's good, but there's a relaxed nature to his comfortable feel at the crease, and sure enough, he pushes forward immaculate defence again. It's a good test this for Maharaj. He's been on the spot since he started this spell.
Sibley's got to find a way to get off strike against Maharaj. He cannot just let him bowl at him like this.
One more ball in the over, and they get very full, but he just plays it easily along the ground. Another maiden. Sibley remains on 21, England 80 for none.
Mog says, there is no point. A study of existential despair in cricket fielding. I'm sure that's quite appropriate. Massey Jazz is accusing Abhishek and you, Rog, of being glovist.
Okay.
I think that's about the white inners.
Yeah.
He also says too many crackers, and sorry, I don't remember what that's about, Massey Jazz. Sean T, back to base camp from the outing to the caves in time to hit Anna's debut. Hello, Anna. Hello. I think caves might be our most unusual.
Where are these caves? I'm not entirely sure. Rabada's full on the off stump of Burns. He drives down the ground. Big chase for Nokia. He'll get to it before the boundary, but meanwhile England will have run 2. Rabada, he's in quite a long spell this, it seems. He threatened one in that previous over to Burns.
Yeah, more control than in the first innings. Although, having said that, he's still going at 6 and over, but he's been much better in this spell. But less threat, really. Certainly, again in this post-T spell.
He's continuing around the wicket to Burns, defending into the onside for no run. As we re-examine that drop by Van der Dussen, his second in the match. And as I said at the time, every run that Burns piles on since then will nag away at the Proteas.
It's only Rabada's 4th over of this spell, so not that.
Okay.
Not that one, but yeah, South Africa's premier fast man searching for the breakthrough.
Ooh, a short one that Burns pulls out of. He thought about pulling, but his pull out isn't as convincing as Smith or Labuschagne. You know,
it's not as you don't immediately overlay a lightsaber noise. We will have a change fairly soon. It's 1 minute until change time. Yeah, I handed a note by Hendo just backing up what I said. Stuart Surridge bats, etc., still exist, and after the company was sold, Swannock is the company. And bats are made by the great granddaughter of Stuart Surridge himself.
Oh, as Rabada beats Burns' edge again. Burns isn't too fussed. He just played down the line of off stump and bounced a lot from back of a length. Maybe just played down the wrong line, but he's unconcerned. Phlegmatic Surrey skipper. And did this leave him a touch? Maybe not. Certainly carried through nicely.
Does it just hold its line a little? Maybe it just didn't quite come in as much as Burns. Well, evidently it didn't come in as much as Burns was expecting. But, good lift.
And wider, and Burns isn't tempted. Very good judgment. And Rabada going out over, well, nearly 6 and over. Was it just 1 wicket for Rabada in the first inning? Oh no, he came back and
got 3.
Got 3, so he came back at the tail, didn't he? But it was one early one, but then he did go through a period like this where he was going for a few.
Yeah, he was kind of both sides of the wicket in that first spell, but he's been much better. Or in that first innings, been much better, I think, today.
Second best bowler in the world, looking for this breakthrough, but no, Burns is equal to a very full one. Rabada looks a bit grumpy as he flings the ball away, and he looks a bit tired as well as he takes his cap. What do they think?
So thank you, Chasing Willow, who she's been quiet because she's organising her freezer, but what a pleasure it is to see and hear Anna. I hate clothes, but I love her shirt. Thank you. I think it's Joe Fresh. Abhishek says, were you referring to PS or SP, as in St. Peter's for the cricket bat?
Yeah. No, there was PS. I remember SP with Tony Gregg used, but no, there was PS as well that Mike Watkinson, I just remember a load of Lancashire guys, definitely Mike Watkinson among others, all used to use. But.
And Jeff Perkins says, is that craft beer or craft beer with a K?
Oh.
So I think that's referring to craft dinner, the Canadian delicacy.
Maharaj beats Sibley, just tempted him to poke at one. It was outside off stump and spinning away, and it must have been so close to that
He
edge.
doesn't have a method against the spinner Burns, or Sibley rather.
Well, this time he's
That's
flicking one
better.
through mid-wicket. Yeah, it was on leg stump, and he's taken toll of it along the carpet.
He'd just been leaning forward and prodding and hoping, but that was a genuinely good shot. He picked his spot. I know it was more of a leg stump half volley, but he's put that away nicely, and that is him to his highest Test score to date.
And he got really far forward, really the head right over it. And an exemplary way of dispatching such a delivery. Can Maharaj get that outside of stump again? He does, but no, can't tempt Sibley to play at that one. And a good lot of turn again.
It's also his longest innings in Test cricket by now 17 balls.
This one's a middle stump and well defended. Again, a big stride. And a head right over it, playing it up to mid-on. Faf is going to move a few men to try it, but he's going to get Philander to come in front of square on the onside. There'll be a couple of mid-wickets. No, Philander's going to go out, and a catching mid-wicket will be quite straight. And look to shore up Sibley's strong area. When he inside edges one into his pads, falls safely. Again, maybe the straight honour from Maharaj.
But again, he's exposing outside and inside edge there because he's just prodding forward. He's neither forward nor back, and so if the ball doesn't turn, it'll hit the inside edge. If the ball does turn, it'll hit the outside edge. Maharaj has just been able to bowl at Sibley.
He bowls his last one of the over, which is comfortably defended, and Sibley negotiates that one. I'm going to take a break.
We're both going to take a break, in fact.
And then come the heavy hitters.
Yeah, Anna will be joined by the Nigels. And if you want to rattle through some tweets while the Nigels take their places.
Absolutely. We've got Otto Seaman with us. How do we not have a wicket yet? We left the ground at tea. Hoped we would miss 8 wickets. Weather was perfect. No wicket, no collapse yet materialising. Messi Jazz has sent us a picture. Woe Nestlers looking very murk. Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad. Afraid not in my frame of reference.
You never watched Breaking Bad?
I was trying to
You should watch Breaking Bad.
Oh, it's brilliant. It is brilliant.
Series 2 and 3 are great. It does get a bit weird, and the ending is an ending to
Don't tell me.
series. No, I'm not going to tell you. But so many endings to so many series are so wank. Rabada in short. Ooh, and surprises the cock, and it goes over his shoulder, and I think they should get a bye. Did they run in the end? Yeah, they did.
Must have done.
And the score moves on to 86. Yeah, no, the ending is a really good ending to a good show. You know, you get satisfied by the ending, which so often, they kind of weed along with a 5-minute story and everyone wanders off into the sunset, and it's just not how you expect it to end.
Have you watched the prequel yet?
Yeah, I watched that. A lot of people slated it. Quite like that too. Watched The Irishman. Didn't like that. It just went on too long.
Well, we should
3.5 hours.
In fact, Anna is a film expert, so should we?
Yes,
should
of
we talk
course.
film?
Defended into the offside by Burns and so on. You seen The Irishman?
I haven't yet. I haven't carved aside 4 hours for that yet.
Well, exactly. Apparently some dude split it up, hasn't he, into half-hour episodes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He hasn't edited it down. He's just made it into consumable episodes so you can watch it in a bit. It's just typical bloody Scorsese, really.
Right.
Just really long, and with the same actors that are a lot older.
I did see Knives Out the other day in the cinema. That was a good one.
Is that a good one? Okay. Rabada short, and once again Burns just ducks underneath it, and there's no run.
I mean, I was very drunk by the end because the cinema had a bar, but I think it was good.
Cinemas with a bar. Where was that?
Oh, it's in Vancouver.
What a bar that you can actually sort of go out in the middle of the film and get without having to take your eyes off the screen almost.
No, unfortunately it is outside the screen.
Oh,
but
right.
it came in handy when I was watching Yesterday, which was one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, what, the one about the Beatle
The man who, yes.
Yeah.
And I just got very drunk.
That's not bad. See, I usually smoke a big fat bifter before I go to the cinema. It's always a good thing. Defended up to mid-on. There's no run. Of course, that's legal, isn't it? No.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's
I
even
wouldn't
better.
recommend it before Knives Out. I think it's hard enough to follow completely sober. I was struggling by the end.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. No, I do like a good smoke. I went to see the Star Wars. In fact, I went to see Star Wars, the last one. What's it called now? The
I
Rise
have
of
no idea.
Skywalker.
No idea.
I went and saw that on Christmas Eve with the kids, and whilst it was visually amazing, you know, obviously they put loads into the special effects. That's guided out behind square on the offside. There was a palm on it, but I couldn't see who that was at backward point. But he slowed it down enough. Did they get through for the singles?
I don't think they did. I don't
they
think.
did.
I mean, you know, it didn't go that far away from the field, does it? So I think they just erred on the side of caution.
And you know, I mean, it's amazing, but it was just ridiculous. It was just fucking one action scene after another. There was no real plot to it. Or there was, kind of, but it was bollocks. It was like, we've got 16 hours to save the universe, and they're fucking 50 million, light years from where they've got to be. It's just like nonsense, total nonsense. Rabada in. Oh, look, there's a shot on the offside, and it's a good shot.
Good
It's
one.
timed by Sibley, and it's gone out behind point. It's going to make it to the boundary, and it's 4 runs. Sweet. I have not seen much of Sibley, and I've cussed him up until this point. He's showing what he's made of.
That's a good
and good
shot.
to him, you know. He's got to turn people like me's attitude around.
Yeah, he's got.
I mean, that's how it works, isn't it?
Yes, I think
in
it
a
is.
sport, you've got to turn around everyone who's outside of the bubble into thinking that you're the player that everyone else thinks you are.
Well, again, you know, a lot of these things are just confidence, aren't they? And suddenly believing that you belong at this level,
which I think you can see with Rory Burns, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
From just a year and a bit.
I'm a bit worried, Anna. Do you need a beer or do you need some alcohol?
Do you need a beer?
Yeah, I would love a beer.
Can someone bring Anna a beer?
I'm
You better bring me another one as
I'm
well,
not
because this one
fussy
won't last
on
long.
type.
You like it cold, I presume?
Yeah. I've been back in England a week. I could.
You can drink
can
warm
bring-
flat ale, yeah?
Oh yeah, I've been teaching my Australian friends who are visiting about that.
Oh, right.
No, IPA's good now, though. They're everywhere. They are so good, aren't they? Oh, lovely. Look at that. Roger's an expert in these.
It's almost
this
like
field.
having your own sort of cinema usher, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Nicely played by Burns up to long on. We're Elgar Fields, and it'll be a single. Look at this. Proper service.
Thanks,
Yes,
Rod.
please. I'll have another
I'm
one.
okay at the moment.
Right, or you can leave that one there. Or, yeah, okay, you can open that one. I'll put it down beside me. This one won't last long. It's, after all, Saturday afternoon. I've got a day off tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm going to see my aunt up in Cambridge.
Oh,
Joy.
lovely part of the world.
Well, yeah, it's quite flat. Clipped into the leg side to Van Dussen, who's at mid-wicket, and there's no run. How long are you over for?
Only another 3 days. I go back on New Year's Eve.
Oh, New Year's Eve. Are you flying on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, but I'll land. I think take off 2:30, land at 4. So.
Oh, that's cool. Ooh, that one kept a little bit low. Turned a little bit. Sibley just played from the crease.
Not looking
no
completely comfortable against the spin there, Sibley.
No, that squatted a bit. It does look like he doesn't have any. If he doesn't have a cut shot, which he, doesn't appear to, and doesn't really want to open the face and drive and get to the pitch of the ball. Does he come down the track and smash it over the top? I've seen him. That's the thing.
Well, I'll
He does seem quite static. Whilst you can prop forward and not get out all day long. Probably it's not spitting and biting. There's a bit of turn.
Yeah,
there's no run defended.
What I would say about it, a lot of opening batsmen aren't necessarily brilliant against spin because they like pace on the ball.
Well, of course, but you've got to find a way of scoring
Yeah.
against it, and I presume he does, because there are spinners in the county championship now. As that's played up to Norkia at mid-on, there's no run.
Are there many spinners in April and September, which is when most
Well,
of the county championship is played
no.
there?
Yeah, you do face him in the nets, I suppose, but that would be quite different. Maharaj around the wicket. Oh, he's got himself out, you fucking idiot. That's a shit ball as well. It was just short, and he went on the back drive forcibly, forced it airily with not enough oomph on it. And unfortunately, Sibley's got himself out. It's a pretty good 29, I have to say. He's eating up a lot of balls, and he'll be very upset with himself. It's a real bad way to get out. Probably his eyes lit up and thought, that's really short. And maybe it stuck a bit in the wicket.
Yeah, I think it may have stuck. It's
and
one of those,
he
isn't it?
just tried to force it. Maybe he was trying to close the face on it and force it through the leg side. Instead, he ended up just forcing it back to the bowler. But so early on was it on it that he just chipped it back to Maharaj, and he's got caught and bowled, and he's broken the partnership. It's a good opening stand from England. 92 for 1 now they are.
And it's so infuriating because he's batting so well.
Yeah.
And, this is when he wanted to go on because that'll give him that. Okay, he's batting quite well for that 29, and you look at it. But if people look in the scorebook and he said, well, he only got 29, it's his highest score in Test cricket. If he'd gone on and got himself a 50, it just gives him a little bit of more security in the side, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But he's
shown a little bit today.
Well, exactly, and they've got, the opening partnership's got through 30 overs basically with a new ball. So
very good.
Makes it a lot easier. Root's probably shitting himself somewhere, but
well, we'll see in a minute, won't we? No, it's going to be Joe Denley.
There we go, Denley.
It is the old thing of as soon as you start to praise somebody and think, well,
Yeah.
they've got ability.
Well, I think I might have commentated cursed him there.
Well, possibly, but we've all done it. We've all done it. We've all been there.
I've done it pretty much twice in the last couple of days, where I've only been saved by reviews, to be honest. So, anyway, coming to the wicket is this man.
Joe Denley. He's almost as old as the theme song, but Chef is gone and we need someone to bat at the top of the order. Joe Denley, he's also a part-time bowler. He can do leg spin, but he's no Ravi Ashwin. He'll need help from the heavy roller. Joe Denley.
Excellent jingle. I've had that in my head for the last month, I think.
90. Left alone by Burns. He's on 58 or 78. He's batted pretty well. And leaves that through to keeper. And there's no run. He'll be eyeing up another ton.
Well, what you've got to do now, though...
You've got to get through to the end of the day.
Well,
get
yeah.
it today.
I mean, you've got to ensure that wickets don't keep going down like we have so often for England. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad ball. And it's one of those that's stuck in the pitch. And he's just unlucky a little bit.
It was a shit takes wicket ball, really.
Yeah. And you can understand his frustration.
Absolutely. But he deserves some credit for it, for his little innings. As I said, he still ate up time. Played up to mid-on, and there's no run.
I mean, time is not really of the essence, though, in this Test match, is it? We've still got 2 days to go.
No, it's not, but the state of the ball is.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
And, taking overs out of the ball makes it less useful.
Yep.
And less potent against the man coming in.
True, very true.
Burns faces up Rabada around a wicket, full, driven beautifully through the offside, got right to the pitch of the ball. Maybe didn't get his foot across to it, but he was latched onto it very quickly. It was a long half volley wide of the off stump, and Rabada gets hit for 4 through the covers.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We've got any tweets, sir?
Yes, I'll jump in. Abhishek is reminding us that Vern's SS bat is Serene Sports from India.
Yes, it's not SS England. I was going to say
that.
that.
Well, is that the company that bought SS out? I'm
no,
not sure.
no. They have their own SS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've been around for a while. Carol?
Umpire in Bell says, "Dare we believe?" and has tagged Annie Chave. I think that was before the wicket, though.
Probably.
Yeah. Rabada around a wicket, left alone by Burns. No run. Carry on.
Yeah. Messi Jazz says there's little about this opening partnership is built on fear of Root coming in, shitting all over them.
Yeah. Quite literally. Although, do we know it's a shitting thing
No,
he's got?
this is what I've been saying.
We don't know.
I mean, it sounds like
It's
it's flu, but you can get what is it? You can get gastric flu, can't you?
Yeah, you get all sorts of things. I once had a thing called Campylobacter, which is a horrendous food poisoning bug, which is the opposite to vomiting, as we talked about earlier.
Usually at both ends, anyway. That's defended up to mid-off, and there's no run. I had salmonella once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And in this country, it's really badly fucking diagnosed. So I went to Holland to see some mates who was living out there at the time, doing a job for somebody. Went to a restaurant, had what looked like preposterously big prawns. Ooh. I mean, these things were like about nearly a foot long. Anyway, all of us went down with food poisoning, but at various times. So the next morning, him and his missus were ill, and we got back on the plane as that's jabbed a little bit out of the wicket, but it's wide again, and Burns has pushed it out through point. It's chased down by Maharaj. I'll get back for 2. And the guy I was travelling with was starting to feel. I think he puked up or shat himself. No, he didn't shat himself, but he went to the loo, and everything was going wrong at the airport. and I managed to get home. But then I was next day I was just throwing up and doing all that. And we knew it's salmonella because the guy in Holland had already gone to the doctors and they said that's salmonella. They kind of did an instant test, I don't know how, and started giving them antibiotics or whatever. It took about a week and a half in England to get antibiotics. They wanted a stool test and all that shit before they would even think about giving you some sort of medicine for it. So it ended up taking about 3 weeks to get over it, and I lost about a stone and a half.
Could do with it now.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Good way of losing weight.
It is. It is. I lost weight in Bermuda by having glandular fever. I lost about 2 stone.
Yeah.
Glandular fever, yeah.
Well, I'm allergic to garlics, and garlic's in pretty much everything.
Oh,
so
God.
I'm no stranger to
Do you have to carry around one of those pens, EpiPen?
Yeah, I'm not going to die from it. But
Oh, okay. My daughter claims she's allergic to nuts, but she really isn't. That's defended by Burns out to cover, and there's no run.
You say as you try to force down another cashew.
Made
on,
an
you will
excuse
eat
one
these.
day that, you know. Mind you, I used to say I was allergic to tomatoes, which of course I'm not. I just hate them.
Yeah.
Denley is facing up to Maharaj, and Denley's a good player of spin, and he's not afraid to come down the track, but he drives that one up to mid-off. He shouldn't do now. This is only his second ball. Gets himself off the mark immediately, though.
Do you not think that's a little bit defensive of Faf du Plessis having a
long
long off
off.
immediately,
Especially to
Denley?
Sibley as well. I mean, Sibley didn't look like
Well,
he
did
was
he
coming-
have him to Sibley? I wonder.
He did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay.
so.
I mean, we have seen Denley go down the wicket in the first innings and play a sort of inside-out shot over the top.
But you've got to encourage it. He's not going to do it if the guy's down there,
No,
is he?
exactly.
Defended by Burns into the leg side and there's no run. He's just going to do exactly that, just push it up for a single.
Well, you would hope in a sensible,
Much like an ODI.
in a sensible world, but sometimes England's batsmen don't reside in a sensible world.
It's the agreed single up to long off. Oh, wow, that turns quite sharply out the rough. There will be some rough outside the off stump. There's only day 3, at the end of day 3, and it spits up at Burns, but we'll just get on top of it and just drop it down into the wicket.
Ooh, it's
That
taken
took
a big chunk out, hasn't it?
out of the wicket. Inside edge onto the pads.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Faf, I'd get a few more people around the bat. I really would.
Well, he's got a short leg. There's no one on the offside. Down the track comes Burns. Haven't seen that. Just clips it into the leg side. Who's that there? I can't see that. Is that a mid?
Don't know, maybe they've got a
short mid wicket?
subfielder
It looks
on,
like
actually.
a subfielder. Doesn't look like. Unless it's who's number 3? What's his name? Hamza. Is that Hamza?
It could be Hamza.
Down the track again comes Burns, and he kind of, I think he missed it and kicked it to short leg, and he was down the track, but short leg was who is second, I think.
Yeah, I
who
don't
is
think
the,
what a great name.
I don't think
Yeah.
it is Hamza, because Hamza was at short leg, wasn't he, in the first innings? I suspect he's still there.
Yeah.
We got any more tweets?
Yes. Nestor's telling us about his caves. They're in the Sierra Nevada mountains in Spain and used as hideouts in the Civil War.
Oh, there you go. Well, you mean he actually got away from the pool, out of a glorious sunbed, and went to a cave?
Went on an adventure, but now back where he should be, listening to us.
Exactly. I'm amazed he could get reception in the cave as well. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Mog says someone really needs to check Smith for some sort of early onset Parkinson's or something. He's jittering and twitching like someone who's jittering and twitching far too much.
He does jitter and
Are we talking about the pigster here?
We are,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, of course, he just...
It worked for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, annoyingly. Still hasn't got a ton though, has he? Since he left
No,
English shores.
that's right. Yes. Well, I mean, I think he'd be quite happy with the 85 in an overall total of 467.
Yeah, totally.
And Australia well on top.
Philander. Oh, was back into the attack. I think that's too high. It's almost hit him in the knackers.
Do you think
Yeah,
so?
that was close.
I thought that maybe was an inside edge, and that's what saved him. I thought that was close.
Do you? I thought it was a bit
Yes.
high.
He's skiddy though, Philander, isn't he? He's not a big,
He is quite skiddy. But his pitch has got a fair bounce. Unless it keeps obviously low, it looks like it's
Look at
going
that,
over the
it's
top.
dead straight. This.
It is dead straight. No, it's
Oh,
hit him
yeah,
on
back
the
leg though. Back leg.
Hit the back leg on the inside of the thigh. I think he's about 6 foot. And it's still going up.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there a jingle for being hit in the knackers?
No, we don't
no,
have
but
one.
we should have one.
Yeah, get on that, I think. Perfect.
Ouch. No, we used to have the ouch jingle, didn't it? That kid.
That was just for any sort of injury,
Yeah,
wasn't
it was, wasn't it?
well,
Defended
I'm sure that's gone
by
somewhere.
Denley. up to mid-off and there's no run.
I'm determined to find the other Stokes jingle as well, the Men with Men one, because I always like that one.
If you go to view...
Yeah, I know, I don't need him, well, hopefully don't need him tonight.
Go to view in the things at the top.
Oh, yeah.
The audio browser, and put in Stokes. I'll only have a couple in there. It'll be one or the other. I think it's Stokes MWV, isn't it?
Mog, year review, old faves.
That's seems to give a little low, and there's no run. You can try them out if you click on one, and then you press the play button in the top right, at the end of the line of the top right. Signal.
Abhishek's being incredibly prescient, but he, just before the wicket, saying, "So English of the English to raise hopes with this opening stand."
Oh yeah, well the Bear and me were
Absolutely.
talking about that. We were saying that, weren't we? What's this? Where's that come from?
You actually click through it.
Another good jingle.
It is a great jingle. I never touched anything, honestly, Gov.
Yeah, right. Philander is up to the crease and nicely clipped by Denley, but straight to mid-wicket where Maharaj is fielding, and there'll be no run.
This is the one problem I've had with Denley. It's not a problem exactly. I think he's a good player, but he does tend to hit the field a lot. I mean, he's an orthodox batsman, so they position fielders in orthodox positions,
Yes.
and he hits them quite a lot. Despite playing good shots, they often go to the fielder.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, he's facing up now. Philander is up to the crease, bowls, and he works that one around the corner down to long leg, get himself an easy single. It's, can't see who that is down there, but it's someone with a floppy hat. And that'll be one run.
Someone in a floppy hat. Could be anyone. 100 up for England.
Yay! It's a lot of one wicket. If you know. Oh, so how many? So it's 312 runs scored today.
Yes, I think that's almost taken everyone out of the
If you click into
equation.
Firefox, it should be on the page up, or it's certainly be one of the tabs at the top. And then the other tab that's open on the left, on the right, there, that one.
Des says in Gower's final years for England, he used Open Championship bats, but never quite looked the same as when he was waving a Nichols around.
Yeah. Ooh, that's beating the outside edge of Burns' bat, and there's no run.
Right, you said we've had 300 runs today.
312 runs today.
No, 300 I think, because it started on 72 for 4. They ended up 272 all out.
No, they ended up 280 odd all out.
No, I don't think so.
I worked it out. It's 212 runs today.
284 all out.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, 272. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
272. So the 200 plus 100, it's 300 runs exactly. Yeah, sorry, Bear, your maths is off. You've had too much beer. And we have Des. Basically, we have Hombre Nuevo, who has 302 runs.
That's defended back down the track by Denny to mid-on. There's no run.
And apart from him, we have Des on 303, 306, 308, 310, 312, 314, 316, 318. I think you're probably looking at the 318 or 316 as the possibilities.
Oh yeah, what's the difference? I was looking at first inning score was 284.
Yep.
Good job someone said that. Right, Maharaj tosses that one up nicely. Denley just defends square on the offside and it's fielded. There's no run at point. You ever played yourself?
No.
Just a big fan?
Just a big fan, and not really. My family were big cricket fans, but the only thing I was interested in growing up was Freddie Flintoff.
Defended in the onside and there's no run. Every generation has to have one. I mean, Botham was mine. God, that's showing my age. But you've got to have a favourite player and something that keeps you in it, eh?
Yeah, and then 2013 was when I actually got into cricket.
Yeah, okay.
Defended by Denley.
So Freddie
offside and there's no run.
Freddie Flintoff was a pure sort of lust thing, was
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Well, he was a very charismatic. Well, was he? I don't know if he was charismatic in real life. He's certainly charismatic on a cricket field.
Yeah, I believe he was. A good family friend of ours was the Lancashire scorer, and he always spoke very highly of Freddie. So.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Clipped into the leg side. There's no one. He looks like he looks like he liked to. Well, he certainly did like a beard, didn't he? When he ended up with a pedalo, nearly drowning after getting hammered. Where was that? The West Indies or Australia? It was West Indies before Australia, wasn't it?
I think that was in St Lucia, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Was it the tour after or before? defended into the offside and there's no run. Did we have a tour?
Yes, it was the 2007 World Cup after the 2006-7 disaster in the Ashes.
Ashes, that's right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you'll never wipe that from my memory bank. I'm afraid. It's very much in there.
Apropos of the honours list news, Patricia says, apologies if it was discussed this morning, but see, sharing a car with Bear is now a precursor to a knighthood, just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Who?
Sharing a car with you gets you a knighthood.
Oh, well, yeah, totally. Damn.
Shouldn't you get that as
I
a
should
chauffeur?
get a knighthead for chauffeuring him.
A
Yeah,
knighthead?
absolutely. A knighthead, yeah. A knighthood even.
That'd be great. I think you should be. I mean,
I'd love to sit in the House of Lords. Fuck off, you bastard.
That's not the House of the Lords, though, is it? You don't get. If you
Oh,
get a
don't you?
knighthood, no, that's a lordship.
Shit, I want a lordship then. Just a life one. That's left alone outside the off stump as Philander starts.
I can see you as a
Anyway.
speaker. in the
Yeah,
House of
that'd be
Commons.
good.
Yeah,
The new John Bercow.
he'd be a sort of rambling drunk speaker.
Yeah. Wow. That'd be no different to anyone else. In
No,
there, would it?
that's true. That's true.
To keep an overrun.
You'd love the fact that you only have to turn up twice a year to get all the expenses, basically, wouldn't you? In the House of Lords.
Yeah, that'd be good. Did you get to vote in the Brexit thing?
I did.
Yeah.
I have a proxy.
Ah, that's good. Not that it
Yeah,
worked.
not that it made a line bit of difference.
Can you vote in a general election as well? That's defended on the back foot by Burns. Back to Philander on his follow through. Picks it up, no run.
Yeah, so I switched my proxy to my Tory dad, so he very reluctantly voted Labour for me.
Oh,
Ah,
good.
Blimey.
But we live in a somewhat safe Labour seat now, so.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Which is what?
Brentford and Isleworth.
Brentford and Isleworth.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ruth Cadbury
Okay.
of chocolate fame.
Ah. Yeah, London's red, and almost the cities are red, and the rest of it's bloody blue. All the weirdos in the country. Sorry, peeps.
That goes half our listenership.
Philander. Oh, that's an odd shot by Burns, and no need to play it out. It was like a little one-day flick behind square with a bunch of slips and a keeper and a gully, and it shouldn't have really played that, but he did. He got away with it.
The one-day
There's
shot
no run.
when you've got 3 slips is not a good move.
No.
I'm afraid to say. We should have a change at the end of this over. I'll move into the ball by ball. Are you happy to stay there, Anna? I mean,
Sure.
For the
I've
last
got my
session?
beer now, so.
Yes,
okay.
exactly. Well, if Rog or Knackle wishes to return, the bear can rest
Slope off.
and dream of the House of Lords.
Yeah. Burns facing up, and it's defended by him. Square on the offside to Maharaj. And there's no run. They got a packed offside field here. They've got 3 slips, gully, point, man just in front of point as well. Got squarish cover, and you've got wide mid-off stroke extra cover.
He just looked like sort of streamlined, doesn't he, with that haircut? Did
Yeah.
I see Genro tweeting in yesterday to
It's
describe
the
what it
fade.
was? The fade. It's the fade. That's
It's a very
right.
square,
Yeah.
topped cut, square flat top.
Yeah, fashionable haircut for not necessarily what you describe a fashionable cricketer, but.
No. Good point.
Philander is in, bowls it across Burns, who just lets it through the keeper, and there's no run.
They've just got stuck a little bit on 100 here, haven't they? There's been got a lot of dot balls. It's not a problem, particularly.
Not a problem at all.
Not unless they see it as such.
No. You got one of the premier bowlers in the conditions.
No,
I mean this is the thing. I
more
think
than happy.
you got to be looking at the score runs off Nortje and
Pretorius.
Pretorius, and what you can get off these guys. They'll give you the odd bad ball. Rabada will give you more. He's got more pace on the ball. I mean, Fernando doesn't bowl that quick. It's and he bowls very much wicket to wicket. It's not easy to score off. And he's in his 8th over, and he's only gone 14 runs. That one is a bit leg-sided, though. It's clipped nicely by Burns. Can't quite beat Elgar, who's at mid-wicket. And that'll only be 1 run. And that does end the over. Hendo's going to take over. Knackle's going to come and join you for the last little bit.
I'll play you a jingle.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla Commentary, we need money. That's what I want. .com/Gorilla Cricket. We need money. .com/Gorilla Cricket. I don't like the BBC. I prefer guerrilla commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want. Or just buy a t-shirt.
T-shirts are available. I think we should start selling those old World Cup T-shirts we had from last year. See if we can get some cash for them since we paid out some cash. Oh, now Burns advances down the wicket. It's bowled flat by Maharaj. He was trying to turn it into the onside. He got an edge to it, but it fell kindly for him.
I think he came down the
Oh
wicket.
no, in fact, it's just taken the outside of his thigh pad on his back leg, so he didn't actually get anything on that.
I think he came down the track too early and Maharaj saw him coming. But
I think he has to done, yeah.
Denley is very fluent coming down the track and can do so very late, not giving the bowler a clue.
Well,
Burns
yeah, if
on
there's a
that
bit of
occasion.
spin there, Burns is going to be in trouble. He's not in trouble here as he goes back and pulls a rotten delivery, really, but he has got protection deep mid-wicket, Maharaj, for just that potential. 102 for 1.
I don't mean to after time, but the wicket of Sibley to Maharaj was coming. He'd just been he'd had one sort of half volley, he put away for 4 quite nicely, but he'd been stuck on the crease, just prodding, not able to get off strike, not able to put Maharaj off the length.
Another flattish delivery, but Denley presses forward, defends into the offside, there is no run.
And then he just prods at one that's stuck in the wicket a little bit and it kind of gives it away after having really fought.
Yeah, very frustrating dismissal, really. Maharaj in again. Oh, a little bit of turn there, but well left by Denley. Maharaj can't believe that it hasn't done something like take out the off stump, but I thought that was particularly good judgment from Denley. It's just landed just outside off stump, perhaps, and edged away.
He's playing for turn, which is fine, but you've got to make sure you've got to be very confident it is going to turn.
Yep, he's forward to this one. It's much straighter, and he defends it up to mid-on.
I think with a lot of left-arm spinners, you're better off. You probably are better off actually playing for no turn and then letting the one that does turn beat the outside edge.
Yeah, hoping that it turns enough to do that. He's in again, bowls once more, forward. There's excitement at short leg. I think it's Hamza in that position.
Really
He's sort of
second.
diving forward, but I didn't get the sense that was in the air for very long. Anyway, that is the end of the over. Just 7 runs from Maharaj's 7 overs. He's also taken the wicket of Sibley. It's 102 for 1.
Yes, Matthew Jazz says the Irishman being too long is about the only thing that has gotten consensus on social media, maybe ever. Nessa's set me a film quiz, which I think I'll work on during the next over.
Right.
Conway Bernsky says Anna versus the Bear, it could get ugly. Good job, it's the final session. We survived.
You did very well, I thought.
Yep, Abhishek says, do the Irish women mind? Don't think they do. That was us talking about.
Are there any women in the Irishman?
I would guess not.
There's been some criticism over that, hasn't there? I did see an article about that, I think possibly in The Guardian, about the lack of females in
I
the
think that's
Irishman.
quite common in Scorsese films.
Yeah, I mean, they are what they are, aren't they? I mean, defended by Burns. I mean, if it is about a kind of macho environment...
Especially period.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It doesn't mean that there's something sinister about the lack of women in that particular film. It's just because that is what it's about. I mean, you might argue there may be too many women and Little Women. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't. I
Right.
doubt I will.
It is next on my partner and I's list to go and see at the cinema.
Okay. Here is Philander again. 2 slips waiting. Oh, flicked away off his leg stump by Burns. He probably thinks he's seeing the ball well enough, and it's right out to deep backward square leg. They take a single. 103 for 1. Target, of course, is 376. If you're flying back on New Year's Eve, it's a good time to fly. I flew back to Bermuda once on New Year's Eve. It was during the YK 2000. And rather than falling out of the sky, there were only 50 people on a plane fit for about 300.
I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah, I think that might be quite pleasant. Especially because, what is it, to Vancouver, about 12 hours, something like that?
Oh, it's like 8.
Oh, is
9.
it? Oh, it's not as much as I thought.
It's quicker on the way back, I believe, so
Right.
just under 9.
Okay, that's not too bad then.
Close to over.
2 slips and a gully, a ring of 3 on the offside. In comes Philander, and he follows that a little bit, does Denley, but Safely enough, he gets it away, backward a point. Just going to get a couple. So it's chased by the fielder there. 105 for 1. Denley moves to 4.
Duke of Umbridge is giving us cricket Richard Curtis movies.
And now this could be good.
4 defeats in a whitewash.
Oh.
St John's Wood, which I'm not
Notting
quite sure.
Hill?
Maybe.
St John's Wood. Just St John's Wood. Well, that would be. I'd love a film called St John's Wood. Actually, I think that would be fun.
The Ball That Swung.
What's that based on?
I don't know.
The Boat That Rocked.
Oh, of course. About tea time.
Oh yes, very good. That is a good one. I enjoyed
And-
About Time, funnily enough.
I didn't.
Did you not enjoy it?
No.
Oh, I did.
It's just about. It's like Groundhog Day. It's just tricking women
Yeah,
into
I
falling
didn't-
in love with you.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe it's different from men, women watching that. I don't know. I suspect it was one of those films that I really wasn't expecting to like, and I kind of enjoyed it more than I anticipated.
Right. I think someone told me I would like it. That's
Right.
the problem.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, you can often go in with your expectations are often too high or too low. It depends, I suppose. Philander in, bowls to Denley. Denley meets that with full face to the bat in defence, and the ball rolls up to mid-on.
I prefer to go into films with no expectations of any kind whatsoever. I don't even like watching trailers. There's a few exceptions, like Star Wars. I will tend to consume everything, content-wise, but I like to go in with with an open mind as much as I can, and then sort of treat the film as it grabs me. There's interesting field. The second slip has gone out into a regular mid-wicket, so there's a short mid-wicket and a regular mid-wicket.
Also, there's a first slip and what looks like a fourth slip, really, or even a very fine gully defended on the front foot again by Denley. There's a completely unnecessary dummy run from the man at extra cover. And Philander, I think, it's Robardo there at mid-off. So what are you doing? It was always coming to me. I have no idea.
Bit of, I think, who was that? It was 60. Dean Elgar, just having a bit of fun.
Oh, he's probably getting a little bit fidgety.
The last Richard Curtis movie is No Ball, actually.
No ball, actually. Yeah, I'm sure we can get some more of those. That's quite a nice idea. I mean, how many films has he made? Left alone this time, you thought for a moment, as did Vernon Philander, that he was going to play at that, and he just whipped the bat out of the way at the last moment. And I think that was a good decision from Joe Denley. That is the end of Philander's 9th over. He's got figures of number 18. England 105 for 1.
Comrade Bernsky has said, Root shitting himself. Wow, this team illness is worse than I thought. I don't think we've solved which exit it is.
No, I kind of feel that it's probably not going to be revealed by the press pack tonight when they go into the press conference.
No, we don't know if it's a Cook in India situation.
No,
Yeah.
particularly not as Jared Kimber is not on the tour.
Yeah, now if he was asking the questions tonight, it could be much more interesting. And I think I would put him forward as the spokesman for the press to ask those deep and difficult questions.
Colin Mahingan says technically Dom Sibley is forever going to struggle to left-arm spinners, which we kind of predicted, and then it came to pass.
Yes, I mean, onto the back foot, talking of left-arm spinners, as Maharaj starts new over. It's clipped to, I don't know what position you'd call that, really. It's mid-wicket, very straight, I suppose. In again, he goes back and he pulls ferociously, and he's found the gap. It doesn't matter that there's a man back at deep mid-wicket. That has gone away for 4 runs.
1 2 4 4 2 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
He does pull very well off the spinners. He gets back very quickly.
Yeah, hit that really hard as well, didn't he? The other thing that I've seen of Rory Burns when I've watched him a little bit in county cricket, as he goes back to this one and defends just outside the line of off stump, is that if he's given the chance to cut, he cuts well. I mean, he cuts mainly in front of square.
He uppercuts too a lot. He goes over point a lot of the time.
Well, against spinners?
No, off the
Oh,
sorry,
the
off the
quicker
fast
bowlers,
bowlers.
yeah. In he comes, he aims the sweep, but he's well outside the line of off stump as he's hit on the pad. There was a bit of excitement from Faf du Plessis at first slip, or at only slip, as it were, but well outside the line there.
But you're right, again, because he reads the length so early, he's got that time to go back and hit the ball in front of square. He did it as Nathan Lyon a few times, and he scored some runs in Sri Lanka when England were last there. Interesting about the opening slot for Sri Lanka. I don't know if you've seen the rumours.
No, tell me the. Oh, now that's really spun and leapt a little bit, but fortunately for Burns. It's just struck him on the front pad. He was outside the line again, and maybe too high, I would suggest.
There may be a Sri Lanka-specific recall for Keaton Jennings, just for that tour.
Yes, I don't.
I've heard this.
Yes, I don't like
I'm
that at all.
sceptical.
I really don't like that at all. Maharaj in bowls and flicked to mid wicket. Now, where did you read that?
It's been rumoured
I've seen it.
It's
I
been
don't
rumoured
like
quite
it.
a few in quite a few different places, because obviously Keaton Jennings does play spinners very well and did well in Sri Lanka last time he was out there. And then the idea is that, like you would go horses for courses with a bowling attack, you can do it for batsmen.
I think it's putting a lot of pressure on him, to be honest. I really do. You know, because he's done well there before. He's done well in the subcontinent. I don't think you disrupt. If Sibley does come good and picks up a few more runs in this series, I think you stick with him, don't you? Even if he isn't a great player of spin, you've got to try and ease him in and develop that side of his game.
I guess again it depends on how it's communicated, because if you say to him, right, whatever happens, Jennings is out after this series and you're back in.
Yes, exactly. That creates all sorts of complications. If Philander starts new over, Denley comes forward. One keeps a bit low, so it was probably a good job that he was well forward. It takes a thick inside edge and rolls out towards square leg.
Chasing Willow says advice for England is drink all the tea in China, eat anything that doesn't get away fast enough, no stomach issues.
Doesn't go away fast enough. Can we, in your dietary excellence, can you suggest things that don't go through you very quickly?
Nessa says
Eggs are supposed to sort of bind you, aren't they?
Nessa's sent us a lovely picture of the Sierra Nevada foothills, which I've retweeted.
I was wondering when this was going to happen. Quinton de Kock's come up to the stumps for Philander, because Denley was starting 1.5 feet outside of his crease.
Well, that's a nice move from South Africa, and a thoughtful one. And Denley just steps back for a moment. There's some more adjustments being made in the field. Van der Dussen is trotting from one spot to another. Where's he gone? He's gone into slip. He's gone into provide a second slip. 2 slips in the gully, 3 on the offside, 2 on the leg, and in comes Philander, and immediately Denley plays at one outside the off stump. Well taken by de Kock as he beats the man of Kent.
I mean, we know Werner Philander actually was a man of Kent very briefly. He did play. He did play
and Rabada.
Yes, KG too. But we talk a lot about Quinton de Kock's batting, but he is a really good keeper.
I know Greg Smith says was having a go at him yesterday. I almost understand why, because there is that sort of flightiness about him. But I think he's a glorious cricketer to watch in whatever role he's playing. Denley settles down again. Philander is in. He goes back to that. Just for a moment I worried he got a little bit square onto that, but he's flicked it away quite nicely, and he's run through quickly for a second. So good cricket from Denley. He moves to 6. Oh my goodness, no! Oh my goodness! England are 111 for 1, and we're seeing from side on how far outside the far outside the crease Denley was starting when de Kock was set back, and it's a different game for Denley here.
Philander can now just pitch it up that little bit further.
Feet off the floor. It's 111 for 1. And we'll have to stay in this position for some time. Come on, Joe, get a run.
Speaking of bad luck, Abhishek has scolded us for jingle cursing Bairstow because we played his jingle, so now he's going to bat today.
Oh no, don't say that! It was an honest mistake, Gov, honestly.
We don't actually know whether Joe Root is feeling well enough to come out and bat tonight.
We don't. And we don't want to find out. We don't want to find out tonight. We're in the final half hour of the day.
Still 9 overs allegedly to go. We're not going to get them all in.
No, we're not going to get that. Denley settles down. He's now got his back foot, I don't know, good 6 inches inside that crease. Jabs away at that rather uncomfortably. Sometimes you think he does that and you're worried he's going to get that little outside edge, and sometimes indeed he does, but not on this occasion.
I worry about the inside edge more with Joe Denley a little bit. There is that gap, and he inside edges into his pads and thigh pad a lot.
He does, you're absolutely right. And of course that's how he got out in the first innings. That gap, if you can exploit that gap, and he does look ungainly occasionally. in those circumstances. My legs are getting very, very sore. Can you please get a run?
Hurry up, Joe.
It's I haven't done a lot of exercise recently, and this is hurting. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Philander in. Bowles hits him on the pad. That's worth a shout. Could be in trouble there. No, says Chris Gaffney, and then Philander says, was that going down the leg side? And they seem satisfied. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to take my legs down. I'm sorry, but he survived that.
I'll
so
hold the fort.
Thank you.
That was interesting because Philander made the signal that it was wobbling into him, but then Quinton de Kock said, no, I think it was missing off stump.
Curious. Let's have a look at this one again. That's definitely come back into him. Height, maybe, again.
Yeah,
Although he's not. I mean, of course, you have to remember he's not that far forward, is he? Because he's starting from well inside the crease now. Yeah, might have had a look at that one if I was South Africa.
I'm sure we'll see it in due course.
Maybe top of leg.
True.
Messi Jazz has done the film quiz, so I don't have to.
What was the quiz?
It was identifying a logo on Nestle's shirt.
What was it?
Martian, apparently, for those of you playing at home.
The Martian.
The Martian.
Oh, The Martian, the film with
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Yeah. I wouldn't have got that.
I quite enjoyed that film. Again, that was
haven't seen
not too bad, was it?
I think it's one of those
Pretty
films I will
decent.
watch and enjoy on a plane.
Do you know, funnily enough, I really don't enjoy watching films on plane. And I think it's happened since when I started flying, as I'm quite a bit older than you guys, when I started flying, you all had to watch the same film.
Mm-hmm.
You just have one screen. Now you can choose. And I kind of like that sort of collective thing of all watching the same film. Pretorius is into the attack and turned neatly by Burns into the onside, come through for a single, and you can put your legs down. You
Put
have
my
done.
legs down.
112 for one.
And I can press this button to signal the change at the pavilion end in place of Kahisa Rabada. Of Vernon Philander. Kesha Maharaj, Jesus.
Get there in the end. Well, I'm hopeful that Dwayne Pretorius, having worn that protective cover on his hand earlier in this innings, things aren't quite right. He won't be able to seam it and swing it. Denley comes forward to this next ball, quite full outside the off stump, defends to extra cover.
Good spell from Kesha Maharaj. 8 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 11.
Yeah, he got the all-important breakthrough, got rid of Sibley. Not with his best ball, it has to be said.
He bowled a couple to Sibley that really did rip from middle stump past the outside edge.
Yeah, and also to Burns in that rough outside the left-hander's off stump. Denley just gets himself ready for Pretorius and defends again. Perfectly fine shot. Again, up to extra cover.
Elixir of Azazel has given us a stat that New Zealand have only won one test in Australia since 1985, and that was in 2011. I don't know how often they've played there.
Not very often.
No, weren't they saying that this was the first time they played the Boxing Day test at Melbourne since for 32 years?
Yeah.
You'd think they'd play a bit more often, being, relatively close.
Australia don't really like to acknowledge New Zealand.
Defended again. Better length ball this from Pretorius. And a ball runs up to mid-off.
Parko's got a jingle suggestion for the getting hit in the knackers.
Yep.
Very festive. It goes tingling balls, been hit in the groin. No one showing sympathy for my tenderloin.
Although,
Very good.
did you say jingle loins? How about
tenderloin?
Oh, tenderloin. No, the original was it jingle initially?
Jingling balls, tingling balls.
Jingling. Oh, tingling. I was going to say tingling balls would be better. Yeah. Defended again. A good length delivery outside the line of off stump, and in comes Dean Elgar and puts some work on the ball.
One causes the other, I guess.
Indeed. And Pretorius bowled a spell earlier of 4 overs. He's 1 ball shy of finishing his first over of a new spell in this late evening sunshine. He bowls and driven by Denley, pleasantly enough, but we're not with enough force to beat Norkia at mid-off, and that is the end of the over. Just the single from it, 112 for 1.
Devon Oak has ended up in a pub, the Bluebell, as known to Messi Jez, who has commended the choice.
The Bluebell, where is that? In York?
Not too sure.
I mean, I know I met Messy Jez in York in the
So
summer.
it could be.
And I have a feeling that Durban Oak, is it BD Ed lives in York? I'm not sure. So yes, I'm guessing that. I don't know. I mean, I have been to York a lot, but I don't know the Bluebell. Anyway, that's all beside the point, I suppose.
More speculation on England's illness. Messy Jazz says even if they don't win, England will shit it in. And Perko says, but they seem good for the runs.
Change of ends for this man.
Indeed.
There's a bowler there from South Africa. Started out bowling pace, but he made the switch. I wonder why, but he's known as Keshav.
It is indeed Keshav Maharaj. 8 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 11, swapping ends. Interesting to see whether there's a lot more turn for him here, or maybe a little bit more bounce. And he's in over the wicket to Burns. Oh, he really gives that one air, and Burns likes that. His eyes light up, but he controls himself enough to just ease it through the offside rather than really going after it. He'll pick up a comfortable 2. 114 for 1. Burns moves to 74.
I think we've made this observation before when watching Keshav Maharaj, but it does look like the South African team don't feed him.
No, you will not go to the braai. He's in, bowls, and a little bit flatter this time, defended from the crease by Burns.
He stands in the corner with a sign that says, "Do not feed the spinner."
Do not feed the spinner. I don't know, maybe a hungry spinner's a better spinner.
Well, Nathan Lyon also has that sort of
emaciated look.
Yon Spinner has that lean and hungry look.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you should just starve your spinners. Defended up to, well, mid-wicket ultimately, because fielder comes running across before it can get further afield.
Yeah, I thought that pale complexion was sun cream, but maybe it's just malnutrition.
There is quite a bit of sun cream on him, I have to say. He's in again. Oh, he said, oh, that's really tempting, isn't it? He throws that up way outside off stump. And Burns goes back, thinks about cutting, doesn't really go through with a shot.
It did turn as well. There was a bit of overspin there from Keshav Maharaj. That went up a long way, kind of flighted about the hand, and then dipped, and then turned a little bit.
I think that was good concentration from Burns, because his eyes could have really lit up at that one. Flatter one, he tries to sweep, and sweeps okay into the ground, but Philander is at backward square leg, so he doesn't beat him there.
Again, that dip, it was just not quite there for the shot. It wasn't quite as full as Burns was expecting, and it kind of hit the bottom part of the bat. I mean, he's probably fine. He's way outside off stump. But
yeah, Burns has got to think. I mean, he's facing him from this end for the first time, and he's wondering what's he going to do maybe in those footmarks. He defends this one comfortably back to the bowler, and that's the end of the over. Got through that run very quickly indeed. England 114 for 1.
Arthur Shears set us a conundrum. If Clyde Lloyd was elevated to a peerage, he wouldn't be the first West Indian Test cricketer to sit in the House of Lords. Who was? I'll let you guys have a guess.
Well,
first.
I don't. If you're a sir, you don't get to go and sit in the House of
No,
Lords.
no, it's
Is Leary Constantine a lord?
That is Messy Jazz's and Pirate Badshaw's guess.
Ah.
We haven't seen whether they're right yet. Mon Chandler guessed Lord Harris, to which Arthur said no, but technically yes.
I have to think about this one.
Puzzling.
West Indian cricketer.
Jasper Ear says it's coming home, and Messy Jazz has suggested the flu. Is the only thing coming home?
Oh, yeah. Lord
I
Harris.
do hope not. I do hope not.
Lord Harris, who was very influential with the MCC in the other days, was born in Port of Spain.
New over from Pretorius.
Where
Driven.
my dad was born.
Oh, really? Port of Spain.
Yep.
Driven by Denley up to mid-off. There's no run. I have a friend who really, I mean, he comes from St Lucia, but he was actually born in Trinidad. So possibly in Port of Spain. I don't know. I have to check it out with him.
My dad lived there till he was 10. So he's now the whitest man you've ever met, but he did used to have a West Indian accent.
Well, exactly.
Like Tony Cozier.
My friend is
Yeah.
the same. He doesn't really have he has a strange accent. It's not West Indian, but it's not English. Although he did spend time at public school in England. In comes Pretorius, bowls, and jumps a little bit on Denley. It's quite high up on the bat as he defends that one. And again, to Pretorius, de Kock has also come up to the stumps. It's not great for a quick bowler to have your...
I mean, neither of them are.
I can understand... No, they're not. But, I kind of do understand that if you think of yourself egotistically as a fast bowler. and suddenly someone comes up to the stumps. But I guess he'll be very happy should he perform a stumping.
Perko has said Knackle must have trouble with Great Expectations then. I imagine that was the cinema.
Yes. That was a while ago.
Defended again by...
Yeah, I'll try to catch up.
I have seen the David Lean film version of Great Expectations. It's quite good.
I like a bit of David Lean. What was that?
Lawrence of Arabia is his most...
Yeah, that was his most famous. He did also the Passage to India. That was his, wasn't it? I think. What was his other films? I'm trying to think now.
Perko's also given us Glove, actually, for the...
Glove, actually.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Richard Curtis movies. Mark Zipp is concurring on the Flying on New Year's Eve, so hoping I'm lucky there.
There you go. Defended back to the bowler this time as Denley gets right forward. And there is no run. Going back to the boat that rocked, I watched the boat that rocked on TV, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. Maybe more, actually, now. And it was an element of it that reminded me of Test match sofa stroke guerrilla cricket. Of, the difficulties of, being on the outside. Now, Des wins the GPL if England score at the end of the day 114, 116 or 118. So at the moment, 114 will do it for Des. This is defended to Elgar at extra cover.
Yeah, that 118 would take the GPL, would take it to 118 runs for the day, which is the upper limit of the guesses today.
It is. Des is actually sort of responsible for, I would say, about at least 20 of those 29 guesses today.
So no more runs.
No more runs,
that goes
2 more
for
runs, or 4 more runs.
Yeah,
is what
that
we're
also goes for England off the field.
Probably 1 over.
Oh, 1 over after. Was that the end of the over from Pretorius?
Maybe.
No, not quite. 1 ball to go. Onto the back foot goes Denley. Rides that and sends it away to deep backward point for 4 runs.
Well, actually not. Des needs a maiden.
He does. He needs a maiden. And it's going to be Maharaj, presumably, to bowl that final over. So it'll be interesting to see how Burns approaches this, whether he's just intent on survival or if there's a ball that's ever so slightly loose, whether he'll go after it. And Des, you must be thinking, well, am I going to win the 70 quid that's in the GPL pot tonight?
So both Des and Joe Root in his hotel room are praying for no more runs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing in the last over, generally speaking... Oh, sorry, yes. Sorry, I missed your...
Yeah.
I think Joe Root is just... Joe Root is just sort of...
I thought you were talking about Joe Root not wanting to come out to bat tonight, and I completely missed the... what we were getting at there. The defending on the back foot as Maharaj does start what we think will be the last over of the day.
Joe Root's just sort of shuttling between bedroom and bathroom.
Yes, indeed. Horrible thoughts. Well, Des, this is exciting stuff, isn't it? He goes back to that, defends it again. Quite a flat delivery from Maharaj. 4 balls away from winning the GPL, Des. I think the amount you put into it today, you almost deserve it. I won't go any further than that. You almost deserve it. I'm terrible because I like it when nobody wins. Terrible. Because it's more money for us, isn't it?
GPL winners do sometimes reinvest their winnings.
They do, and they're very kind on that in that regard. Absolutely. Maharaj got a forward short leg and a slip. He's gone past the outside edge. He was playing for turn. It didn't turn. But fortunately for Burns, it evaded the thinnest of edges.
It's a lovely overspinner again. That didn't really turn as much as Burns was expecting.
If anything, I think it just might have edged away from him slightly. Shorter ball onto the back foot, played back to the bowler. 2 balls to go. Des, you are so close. I hope you don't have any animals nearby like Messi Jez often does. And if you lose, you're not going to frighten the dogs or the cats or the fish. Maharaj in, gives it some air. He's got an edge to that. Oh my word! And not only is Faf du Plessis but unable to stretch out far enough to take the catch. It has run away to third man, chased by Pretorius. They've got back for 3, and Des, leave those tortoises alone. 121 for 1. It's all over for the GPL tonight. Pretty close. Ooh, it may be also a little bit short of him to slightly Oh, well, I don't know who that is in the...
Aidan Markram.
I was Aidan Markram. He's absolutely distraught that didn't quite go to hand. Wow, that was close. They took 3, I think.
They did.
And it means that Joe Denley will face what we think will be the final ball of the day. Let's have a look and see what sort of field he's got. He's remaining with the silly mid-on. As a backward point, a shortish extra cover mid-off. Joe Denley is looking about him to see what moves are being made by Faf with his final delivery of the day. We're actually to see whether this might have been a 4. I don't think so.
Good work by Dwayne Pretorius.
Yeah, I think he did well there.
With his bionic hand.
His bionic hand, indeed, yes. Yeah, I think he's done pretty well there. So it is Joe Denley, it's confirmed, will face the final ball of the day. Maharaj 1 for 16, final ball of his 10th over. And a man's coming in at silly point as well. He's in, bowls to Denley. Denley defends on the front foot, and despite the efforts of the man at silly mid-off or silly point, he's not going to be able to scoop that up and claim the catch. The bails are knocked off by umpire Paul Rifle. And England, against all expectations, well, certainly mine, don't know about yours, have only lost 1 wicket as they chase an improbable target of 376. 121 for 1. Rory Burns, again, has had a little bit of luck, but when he's not had luck, he's played some really nice shots as well, and has deserved, what is 77 that he's ended up on tonight. I think he's batted very positively.
Yeah, 77 off 117 balls, and he got his 50 even faster than that. He got 11 fours. He's taken to get to that 77, 8 of which came in his first 50. Joe Denley has kind of looked his usual Joe Denley self, pretty unruffled by proceedings, 10 not out of 39 balls. And Dom Sibley did make his highest test score, only 29, but ate up 90 deliveries before limply pushing Keshav Maharaj, a delivery from Keshav Maharaj, back to said underfed left arm spinner. But this was after South Africa really looked like they'd broken England in the first session and a half. With Nortje and van der Dussen. Nortje and van der Dussen just were milking them here, there and everywhere, almost at will. Rassie van der Dussen made his maiden test 50 on debut. Henrik Nortje made a very impressive 40. Quinton de Kock played it about for 34. Vernon Philander played a nice knock of 46. And there were 7 for Pretorius, 11 for Maharaj, and 16 for Rabada.
I just want to make a point about Rory Burns' knock tonight. I think I said in the first over, actually, there was something about his body language that looked more positive than when he came out in the first innings. And, well, OK, he's had a bit of luck. He was dropped on 20, and that penultimate ball only just evaded Faf du Plessis making a great effort to grab it. But otherwise, he's batted really well. He's played some good shots, some cover drives, some lovely clips off the legs, and I think it's
pulls off the
almost
spinner too.
Yeah, also almost perhaps the most impressive innings I've seen from him, the most proactive innings I've seen from him, I think, in an England shirt. Give us the rest of the card then.
Yeah, so the bowling figures for England. Jofra Archer got his 3rd fifer in just his 7th test, 5 for 102. Went at 6 and over, but you can't really argue too much with 5 for 102. James Anderson, 13 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 47. Really misused by England this morning, but his second spell today was much better. Stuart Broad, 11 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 42. Sam Curran, 12.4 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 51. And Ben Stokes, the pick of England's bowlers, really 8 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 22. England were really nowhere in the field in the certainly after the first half an hour. Today, a few run-out chances that they had in the first half an hour, but then after that it was just a shambles. Really,
it was going downhill rapidly, wasn't it? It really was.
But Archer came. They came back at the end to dismiss South Africa for 272, and that meant that England had an unlikely 376 for victory. But to be fair, they've done really well in this session and a half. They've had to bat these 41 overs. Rory Burns, as Endo said, 77 not out of 117 balls. Joe Denley, 10 not out of 39. Dom Sibley, the man to go, 29 not out of 90. And he looks very organised now, and he looks very calm. He does need to be able to rotate the strike off the spinners, and that's going to be something that teams will work out. Not least Sri Lanka, and certainly Keshav Maharaj has landed an early blow. The bowling figures: Kagiso Rabada, again expensive, 9 overs, 9 maidens, none to 48, but that is very much the exception Werner Verlander, impressive again, 10 overs, 2 maidens, none for 20. Ulrich Norgir, 6 overs, 1 maiden, none for 20. Did beat Rory Burns on the outside edge a couple of times and beat Dom Sibley too. Dwayne Pretorius, steady, 6 overs, 1 maiden, none for 12. And Keshav Maharaj, very good, 10 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 16. There have been only 5 extras, 4 byes, which were not really byes. They flew way over Quentin de Coxhead, and 1 leg bye. So England have got out of today with a modicum of credit. Not more than a modicum. I think Denley and Burns and Sibley deserve some credit.
The worrying thing for England is, does Rory Burns contract the fungus overnight?
Indeed. Will the blob, the demon blob, strike him?
What do they used to have on Blobby, Noel Edmonds' show? What did they used to drop on people? The gunk and all the guns and all that stuff. Maybe that's what it is. There's some horrible gunge in the hotel. I shouldn't say that because I'm probably slandering the hotel. Well, that's about it for us for today. It's actually been another fascinating day in many ways. Different sort of afternoon and evening for England than the morning. We will be back at 7:55 a.m. tomorrow. That's GMT time. Please join us then. We shall do some final tweets from Anna, who's come join us. I think it's made an absolutely fantastic debut.
Well, thank you.
You're not coming back in the near future?
Next time I'm back in England.
Next time you're back in England, will that be a couple of weeks?
We'll see.
A few months. Oh dear. Okay. All right. Final tweets from one or two people.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm quite behind. Sorry, everyone.
No worries.
Abhishek's talking about Silly mid-off going out of favour with captain.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
And AD Bid is talking about the keeper up to the stumps to a seamer.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Good to see.
And our unlucky Des has made the point that Jennings getting recalled will be the equivalent of Owen Hargreaves because he's selected for no apparent reason.
Right.
And Greg Smith is wondering if Graham Smith's Captain Killer curse works in the director's seat.
Captain Killer's curse?
You know, he saw off 3 England captains.
Oh, I
South
see.
African
I
Test captain.
see. Yes. Good point.
Abhishek's complimenting my jingle singing. Thank you. Duke of Umbridge has started a fun game, so hopefully listeners can pick that up tomorrow. Is the Tarantino cricket collection?
Ooh, that'll be good. We've had a Richard Curtis one and a Tarantino one coming tomorrow. Is that more or less it? Has anyone said anything interesting? That's the question.
We've got lots of photos from the Blue Pearl pub, so check that out if you're in York.
We think it's York. We think, yeah.
And Annie Shave is holding out hope.
Oh well, good.
Even
As long
if
as
no one else is.
As long as Annie's hopeful, then I'm hopeful. Anyway, we should call it a day for today. It's as I said, been a lot of fun. I think we've got some different people in tomorrow. You're not back tomorrow.
I'm not in. This is me done for this test. I'll be back from day 3 of the second test.
I'm back tomorrow till 1 o'clock, and then if England start to look like they're going to win, that's going to annoy me a little bit because then I'll have to
all
go.
over again.
Yeah, exactly. And I missed the end of that. Could you believe it? It was my mother's 90th birthday. What can you do? Anyway, until tomorrow when we shall have no bear. He's going to Cambridge. I think we've got Rog. I think we've got Roger's mate Tom, who's a musician. He's been on before. Some of you might remember, probably a couple of summers ago. I think we were in the other room here in those days. And I think Mash is in as well. So, and maybe Tony even has returned from deepest northeast of England.
Miss Tony, my fellow Middlesex man.
Ah, right, yes, there you go. There's so much of a Middlesex theme to guerrilla cricket.
There's no Middlesex players in this England.
Yes, thanks for that.
Yeah, but that's on the basis of what John Batham was saying, that's probably not going to happen for a while. They've got
there
too
was
many
any justice in the world, Stephen Finn would be there.
They've got too many seamers and no batsmen, according to him, basically.
True.
And having lost Dawid Malan as well. Anyway, join us tomorrow, 7:50 a.m. GMT. We shall be back, or some of us will. We look forward to perhaps England pulling off another amazing victory in this crazy year of cricket. Who knows? But until then, it's goodbye from Anna. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for bringing beer, and thank you for drinking beer with us. It's goodbye from Knuckle.
Bye-bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Good night.
Guerrilla.